You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
All right, welcome in. Happy Thursday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, the Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Jake Janasek along with you today. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing? Mike, hello.
Just killing ants.
Mike's firing off an email about the ants.
This is insane.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah,
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
It's way, way worse than when I first pointed out that, hey, there's ants all over the studio. Today, there's probably, I don't know, a few hundred, and I've got them crawling on my hands while I'm doing a radio show. So, yeah, I'm firing off the email.
I understand. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, they've seemed to grow, not in size, but in population. That much is for sure. So it is a Thursday morning. Happy severe weather day. It sounds like we got some severe weather coming in. There was a spritz, a drizzle coming out of the air this morning. Everyone says we're going to be getting the threat of severe storms today. Are you prepared?
Would you like to see the ant?
Do you have the hatches battened down?
Yeah, I mean, mostly prepared. Like we're unprotected in the property behind us. So basically, if things be blowing, like there's nothing that would stop it from smashing into the back of our house. So.
Hopefully you don't get a northern wind.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
storm.
interesting. The winds, it makes no rhyme or reason. They'll start one direction and then they flip on us. We're basically Memorial Stadium over there on the hill.
Wind tunnel Schaefer.
Yeah, it's unique to say the least.
Okay, so we'll see how we all do today. We had a great, enjoyable baseball game last night at Tal Anderson Field. Jake was a part of it. I was a part of it. And if anybody asks if I was a part of it one day, I will say no. I was not. I did not have any hand in the creation of that baseball game.
Oh, I heard you on the call, so I know that you were a part of it. I already talked to you about my favorite part of you on the call yesterday.
Well, you somehow tuned in for like the 15 minutes where everything blew up in the entire game.
Yes.
We were
the collision at first base. I look forward for you walking through whatever this was.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it right now because I don't think we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty details of Creighton and Omaha last night, which ended 15-10 in 9 full complete innings. A game that Creighton was up 14-3 in with, I think, 1 out in the 7th and had a chance to finish it off and then was not able to do so. We continued on, and then, Then there was a collision at first base. There was arguing. There was yelling between the two sides. There was a long replay review. All of this for the one play. There was 2 runners that were on the base paths that had to be bring back, one of which had scored and one of which had already been thrown out at home. So there was a run that there was both a run and an out taken off the board at the same time to restore the order of the play that happened at first base. I don't even know where to start.
Like I said, I got in my car and it had just happened and you were referencing it and it was very fresh.
On top of all that, there was probably a 60-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out to left field.
Yeah, golf league was fun.
And then for some of the holes and like probably really not fun for some of the other holes.
That started on a downhill downwind. hit a wind-aided 300-plus yard drive. Felt very good.
That's awesome.
And then that was basically the peak of everything. And
Yeah.
the rest of it was hitting into the wind the rest of the night.
Because eventually, you get you get further away from the clubhouse. Eventually, you have to get closer to the clubhouse again.
And then you're putting into the wind. You're, like everything about it. I hit this massive drive. Later, I would hit as hard as I can swing 8-iron directly in where I wanted to go. And it went about 107 yards. So, because it was into the wall of the wind.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cutting that thing through it. So, it was a fun time for golf.
Very, very humbling what the wind could do with a golf ball. What the wind could do with a baseball as well. Yeah. So there was a ground ball over to third base, and then it was Rocco Gump, who's Creighton's third baseman. He came up with it. He kind of he had to come all the way across to the shortstop position to make the play, and then threw it over there on the run, short arm, it was in the turf, it was in the dirt, and the Omaha guy, I think it was Borner, and Chris Belargin, Creighton's first baseman, collided, which I don't know. So there was that. There was two dudes laying on the ground. Let me just.
Did the throw take him into the line of the base runner? Did the base runner maybe go into the line of the throw?
He had to go down to catch it, and to make it. So he was probably in the base running line more so than the runner was out of the base running line. But we'll get back to that in a minute. So the ball gets loose. Two dudes are laying on the ground. A run scores. Creighton's pitcher goes over there and throws it to the plate to cut down an extra runner that was trying to score. And then all attention goes to the play at first, where guys are still laying around on the ground. Then as that gets cleaned up and it's apparent that nobody is seriously injured, then they all start yelling at each other. The players start yelling at each other. That the players start yelling at the umpires. The umpires start, and then in the midst of all this, two of the three umpires are gone because they are trying to consider whether they're going to overturn something on replay. So they're underneath and they are not watching any of this. There's one umpire to adjudicate all of this out on the field. And I mean,
how much of this action were you calling?
All of it. I was.
That was a great 15 minutes of Connor Happer, I will say.
I don't know.
I only got the aftermath, which was also a great 15 minutes of Connor Happer.
I do wonder
in a very different way.
If you listen back, I don't know if any of it made sense to anybody. You could only
I can picture it as you're describing it right now.
You can only do so much.
The collision, and when you would recap it, you did a fairly good job, as you just did there. I didn't realize how much exchange was happening during the review, because when I came into it,
it was just another
the wheels
thing.
had sort of fallen off of the inning, and then more runs were being scored, and the resignation in your voice that you were in for at least another inning of this. There was a point where Creighton ended up bringing in a pitcher where you, in a very specific voice, is like, they would have loved to have him mostly for the weekend. I guess he was going to get work one way or another today.
Says Kuzmin, yeah.
It's I know what that voice means.
I even did as we got to the bottom of the ninth. I even pulled out Denny Matthews. We have achieved the bottom of the ninth. It's just absurd. They tacked on a couple. So long story short, it ended up being 15-10 in a game that could have ended probably an hour and 15 minutes before it did, and then it didn't, and it was a Wednesday night baseball.
And both of you guys got to be a part of it.
Yes, just I feel honored.
Longest eighth inning I think of my life for sure.
Historic.
Yes.
I'm glad that it all worked out for me.
I just got to see a lot of home runs. There was a lot of home runs.
Well, on a night like that, you would anticipate.
It was pretty. It was really cooking as far as the win was concerned.
Yeah, I believe it.
All things considered, I thought Creighton was doing a pretty good job. They had only allowed 3 runs going into that horrific 7th inning, and then kaboom! It all went crazy. And so what they eventually ended up doing on the play was they overturned the call at first base. All right, so meaning they deemed the runner either outside of the baseline or whatever. They called the guy out at first. I'm like, okay, so the guy's out at first base, and then both coaches are like, okay, so what happens to the other things that happened on the play?
Everything else that occurred in that play.
And so what they eventually do is at first they pulled the runner that scored back to third. He scored easily. They pulled him back to third, and then I don't know who was arguing it, whatever. Eventually, like 2 or 3 minutes later, they realized, oh yeah, we got to put the runner back on second again as well, because he was the one thrown out the plate. And so that means we got to take a run and an out off the board, because there was another out recorded on the play, or an out recorded on the play. And so we were left with 2 runners on base with 1 out in the inning, and that was on the play at first. And those 2 runners immediately ended up scoring. Classic.
Yeah,
of course. And then we just continued.
And you played on.
And we played on. Headley says, oh wait, no. Sal says he fractured his L5 vertebrae in a similar play his junior year of baseball. No, it was a dangerous play. I was really worried for those guys at first. I was definitely concerned. They were rolling around and not getting up for a second, but they got up, and it was just the collision that got them. But yep, can't beat fun at the old ballpark. That's what we had last night, and we'll find out what's in store this weekend. Both teams are still at home.
Yeah, there you go. You'll be on the call this weekend.
You could check out some baseball
on ESPN Plus, right? You'll be back on ESPN Plus.
Yes.
That's the home of Connor Happer this weekend.
The Connor World Series is on ESPN Plus.
Yes, sir.
No, it's just a Big East regular season.
And the Connor World Series this weekend is Creighton and Butler.
Oh wow! I actually, this needs to be a running bit. The Connor World Series
is wherever I am.
Yeah, I like this.
I was
it's wherever you are, which is specifically not where Nebraska baseball is going.
And hey, as much as we talked about Butler, who was supposed to be really, really bad and is bad every year and got beat like
31-3
by Wichita
they got
State
beat by a football score.
So the 2 teams that are 0-9 in the conference, the 2 teams that Creighton has just swept over the last 2 weekends, they play each other this week.
Oh,
so I think I'm going to turn that on in the. I think I'm going to turn that on in the booth. I want to just really dive into it.
We need a segment on Friday. We don't have any space left on Fridays, but
Big
we need a
East
segment
sicko
on
baseball?
Fridays. Well, it's more or less like you should keep your eye on, and then you can include things like that.
It's like the college baseball slice, or the slice
well,
of
it doesn't even have
baseball.
to be only college baseball. It can expand beyond that.
Okay,
but
keep your eye on this, and it's just a bunch of weird
we
things.
just call it Sicko Sports on Friday.
Oh, that the Seton Hall Villanova series would be on there.
How many people are going to attend that?
I can't imagine any. I can't. I don't know where it is.
Do you think they have to hire security?
I don't think so. I think if the game is scheduled, let's say the game is scheduled for 1:00. If everybody shows up at 10:30 and they're ready to go, they'll just play.
Yeah,
no repercussions.
They don't even need concession workers. Everything's free.
No, I don't.
To grab and go.
Not
grab and get out.
Not at those 2 places. That's for sure. So that was what we were doing last night, and tonight is the NFL draft, which somehow is a process that, like, it's exciting. It's exciting to know about the future of your franchise. I am every single year annoyed about how they have stretched this first round of the draft into like 3 hours of television.
It's more than 3.
I know.
3 is when it's like nice and tidy.
3 or 4 hours of television. I mean,
there was a year.
It is so long for one round of the draft.
There was a year that they got into like close to midnight. For the first round, because there were so many trades.
So that's getting close to 5 hours.
Yeah, like it really, and then I think they changed the time limit to kind of speed it up a little bit
for like the clock, like the pick is in thing.
Yeah, and
that doesn't even make a difference. They don't even adhere to that.
Well, and I think like you had something to do with the trade specifically. Like you make the trade, you need to have the pick in right. Like it was more of a like we got to speed this up and we can cut like 40 minutes off of this. But it was like a record amount of trades. It was a wild year.
Nightmare.
I want to say you would have been working radio. It was after, you were working radio the entire time, but you'd have been up here at that point. It's just been the last 4 or 5 years.
Maybe. I honestly, I don't. It's like a 50-50 whether I watch it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured it would be good background for you.
I do know over the last couple of years I've been playing slow pitch softball on Thursday nights.
Okay.
That is not happening this year.
Okay.
So maybe I will watch it. I'm theoretically, weather pending, I suppose, I'm getting a couch today for my basement.
Ooh.
So we're
Getting
gonna
delivered?
Yeah.
They're dropping it off on the driveway and you gotta haul it in?
No, they're bringing
You're
it
making them bring it all the way
Yep.
inside?
Yep.
That's the only way to do it.
I have no more lift capacity. I don't have it.
You've hit maximum lift.
I'm done. I'm cashed.
Worried about that like bend and then that rise back up and your entire body just,
I'm done. I'm sore.
straightening out.
There's just a lot of different stuff going on.
Hey, I offered to help. I was never called, so I feel good about it.
I think we're there. Like
Good. That's good.
We get this couch in there. We're good. So maybe I'll be taking a snooze on my new couch. That's the hope.
Do
But,
you think it's a good napping couch?
well, any nap is going to be a good napping couch today, I think.
That's probably fair. I would imagine you're tired.
Show me your couch, listeners, and I will tell you that it's a good napping couch.
It sounds like the start of a contest. Like,
Show me your couch.
send your couch in.
And then we send them a new couch
Yeah.
if we deem that their couch is bad.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well,
We'll talk to our people. Let's see if we can get that going.
it's kind of interesting. All right. Today on the show, Brad Christopherson will join us at 8:30. Max Olson will join us at 9:15. We'll, of course, have our bracket sim. And it is Thursday. So coming up at the halfway mark of the show at 8 o'clock, I have an opinion. You folks have opinions. Send them in our way, whether they're about the proper adjudication of baseball calls. You can make it about Mike Vrabel. There was new news on Mike Vrabel this morning that I didn't see last night.
Okay.
We will discuss that.
We didn't get to it yesterday, and it worked in our favor.
Yeah, it really did. There's an addition to the story now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So if you have opinions on that, let us know. If you have opinions on whether people should drink coffee or energy drinks or whatever, let us know. 402-951-1620. That is the way to call or text the show on the Prayflower Casino Zone hotline. You can email Connor or Mike at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. You can tweet on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers today. Hello, YouTube streamers. We have our dear friend John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, who is still in here talking about Dana Holgerson at 6:15 in the morning.
Just yelling into the void on the StreamYard, which we support.
Well,
That's why it's there.
but you are sort of out on Dana, so maybe you're like,
what? Look, it's not like I don't understand. It's just
there's
sometimes
just nothing that can be done.
Well, it sometimes comes up when we haven't talked about football at all.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we've really talked about football much. Like football. We haven't talked about it at all this week. I don't think. We've talked about like real big picture, and then the stadiums.
We haven't done much X's and O's.
Maybe we should do some X's and O's today.
We should have an X's and O's segment.
Yeah. I don't know.
Happer breaks down a draw.
Okay, that'd actually be really funny. I don't know
See what you do here is the quarterback pauses, I think, for a couple seconds. The running back chops his feet, then he hands him the ball.
If they gave me one of those grease boards or like the technology, it's got the X's and the O's on it.
Yeah.
I'm pulling everybody across the line. I'm running like some combination of counter, trap, draw, duo, all of it in one play.
I like
everyone
the
do
idea
everything.
Of you having one of those ESPN screens behind you. So when you were talking about that collision that you witnessed last night, you could actually just like speed it up, slow it down, run through the highlights. This could be good practice for when you're anchoring a sports desk.
So great point. Excellent point. I would need it. Either that or a green screen behind me, and then the TV's down on the floor, right?
Just call it Happer's Happenings. Boom, done.
I think that'd be fantastic.
Just put it right here.
We'd love to do is just impromptu.
We need the camera
breakdowns.
we have the technology, obviously, for the camera to crane over so it could just get a nice centered shot.
Maybe when we move on to wherever we're moving on to next.
Do you think we'll have the ants join us in the new studio?
It's possible. I was wondering if the Summit League Network archives any of their baseball games, because I would want to go back and find the video for this occurrence last night and just watch it all happen again. Jake, pull up the audio of the game from last
Yes.
night and just try and find the moment where it all.
Yes, I will do
So
that.
because we won't do it during this segment because we got to give Jake a couple minutes here.
Sure.
But yeah. Elsewhere today on the show, we can talk about Emmett Johnson, who's not going to get drafted tonight, but will get drafted at some point this weekend, maybe tomorrow, most likely Saturday. I would say we could talk about him and what lies ahead for the future for him. We pick out some guys in the first round. I got a couple guys.
No wonder. I wonder if you had people that you were going to stamp your seal of approval on.
Schaefer's always got a couple guys.
Busts. Like there's nobody where I feel so strongly like
quarterback's the easiest thing to do.
Well, yeah, there's one guy where it's like I absolutely wouldn't take him in the first round, but if you took him in the second round, I don't think I care as much.
Old T Simps.
Yeah. Which is for some people as it has to be like a real sticking point of they planted their flag that this is their guy. And
well,
I don't understand.
It's been weird because he's like magically made his way into the first round.
Yeah.
But
that's what happened with JJ McCarthy.
Anytime I ever hear anyone talking about him that knows at all what they're talking about is like, no, I don't know.
Except Dan O at ESPN.
Dan O is absolutely out there with his takes.
And it's been like a month plus of him just like, really, you want to talk about yelling it into the void?
I know.
And then telling people to be a good person when they come back at him about how dumb he is.
Yeah, be kind.
That.
Seth Davis has that move all the time.
Yeah, it's out of that playbook.
A couple other things today. We have found an off-season bracketology, which is exciting.
You'll like this one.
I have a question about the basketball transfer portal.
Okay.
And a story on ESPN about Kurt Signetti that I just want to pull out a couple of quotes from to illustrate how weird this guy is. He's a total weirdo. So we will have
shocking
all of those things during the show today. We are pleased that you've decided to join us this morning. Bring a friend. Text your friends and say, listen to Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, and do so when we'll be back in a moment after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. We have the Bananas and Bangers contest going on. So I was informed yesterday actually that there is a change now. So the Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes, where you submit your walk-up song to us, you tell us what your walk-on song is, and you get a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas at Haymarket Park on June 11th with $200 and a free duct cleaning from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. The latter two things still stand: the duct cleaning and the McCarthy's from McCarthy's, and the $200. But I was told that now the tickets are to the game at Memorial Stadium on Saturday, June 13th. The big one.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'll be at that game.
I don't know now. Unclear. I don't believe it's sweet tickets to the Memorial Stadium game, but it's tickets.
Yeah, it gets you in.
It
And
gets you in the
look,
door.
there was a lottery system. A lot of people missed out on it.
Yep.
These are coveted tickets.
Bananas and Bangers, powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. Speaking of bangers, let's go back to last night. Jake Janicek has found the soon-to-be buried audio from Creighton and Omaha last night. I genuinely don't know what is about to occur, other than it's me talking about things that I'm seeing. So this is the start of the play.
Yes.
Great. First of all, did I do a good job of describing the action? Probably not. But we'll find out.
We can critique you out.
Here's where it all started.
Nate McHugh softly on the ground toward the left side. Gump's going to cut it off. Long throw and a collision at first base, and everybody is safe. 1 run scores. Adams tracks it down. Now the throw home is in time for the out. They're going to cut down Riggs at the plate, who tried to score, but a huge collision at first base between Drew Borner and Chris Belargian, and both of them are shaken up.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
I think that accurately describes what happened. Now let's skip ahead 3.5 minutes
To the pandemonium.
3.5 minutes.
Just whatever you feel like is appropriate. 3.5 or so minutes, and let's just play it at a random point coming back.
First base after review.
Silence.
At least that was the call that we just got from first base umpire Greg Harmon and third base umpire Lance Vaughn, who went underneath to take a look. Evan Porter is having a word now.
Oh, this is the portion where both of the coaches took turns
Drew Borner
asking
is
for explanations.
quite upset at the proceedings here. Evan Porter needs an explanation.
All right, let's
So,
skip ahead another 3.5 minutes.
All righty. We'll go right here.
See what else we got. We've moved on
No
to a different
injuries.
song.
Mark Kingston's going to come out and have another word with home plate umpire Josh Mara. If he's got to go. And now the umpires are going to come together again.
I'm growing frustrated at this moment.
I suppose it makes sense that Riggs is sent back to second base. Riggs was the player who was thrown out as the attempted second run scoring. He was thrown out at home, but that was after the ball was retrieved after the collision at first base.
How much longer
Still
does this go?
discussion amongst the umpires. Mark Kingston.
And none of this is what I heard.
Let's skip ahead another 3.5 minutes.
I got you.
I don't know why 3.5 minutes is my number, but let's just see what else we got here.
Well, you seem to go a little more quiet on this audio, so I wonder if it's wrapping up.
I
here.
wonder if I get sad and angry at this point.
I wonder.
Basically, a ground out to third. 5-3.
Oh, I got. We just finished it up, so that was the end of it.
That was the end of. So we've moved on to the next play.
Yeah, we move on to the next play. So it's about 10 minutes.
I believe this is where Schaefer started listening, right?
Somewhere in here, yeah.
Somewhere at this point in time. Now, I don't know if I stopped talking about it or not, but that you get a general picture of the things that were were happening in those 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got a general picture of how you were feeling in those 10 minutes or after those 10 minutes.
Yep.
And well after those 10 minutes.
Yep. And that was immediately after. It was immediately after, Creighton really could have turned a double play ball to end the game.
Yeah.
In the seventh inning.
You referenced that on the probably 12 to 15 minutes of which I was listening. You referenced a double play, or it could have been double play at least 3 times.
Nice.
They're almost out of it. There was a time where they could have gotten out of it. This would have ended if. Yeah. Again, I knew your state of mind, and I felt for you.
I soured on that baseball game.
Yeah, you
I
did.
love baseball, but I did get a little bit annoyed with it after a while.
That game tested your love.
It did. There's no doubt about that. Hey, yesterday in college football, people in Alabama were just as unhappy as I was watching the last 2 innings of that baseball game because Kalen DeBoer got a giant extension. They still don't like this guy. Oh, here we go. They still don't like this guy, do they?
No, I don't. I'm so baffled by this extension. It reminds me of the weird Brent Venables one that was last off season after they had gone like 6-6. Now they ended up going to the college football playoff, but I don't really think their fan base is anymore sold on Brent Venables. This one, it was a fan base that, pretty much wanted him fired at the start of last season when they lost to Florida State. And then it got a little bit better. So then by the end of the year, there was just people like, well, if he leaves, he leaves. And his name came up with a lot of jobs.
It did.
He ultimately never went anywhere. And so Alabama probably trying to protect its coach. If you're DeBoer, kind of an easy contract to sign. And yeah, it's more money than they paid Saban. Now, a lot of that is just where we are in the pay scale.
Right. We've moved on. 7 years, $12.5 million a season. So that is upwards of $87 million, $87.5 million. And a buyout of $10 million through January 31st of 2027, and then decreasing by $2 million each of the next 2 years. It's funny. We now live in a world where $10 million doesn't seem like that. It's certainly not that prohibitive of a buyout.
No.
And that's what was Frost when they actually did? Was it 20 or was it 10?
For Frost?
Yeah.
It was 20.
It was 20 and they actually did the 20.
So
because they would have waited. Yeah,
significantly
if they would have waited
October
like a couple
1st.
more weeks.
Yeah.
And they would have, I believe it would have cut down to 10 at that point.
No, that was the number. And they obviously didn't make it to that. I mean, that's one of those weird things.
10 almost seems like you're getting off easy. Like 10, if you get a $10 million buyout,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's nothing now. He could
relative to the buyouts that their next door neighbor Auburn has been paying for about every one of its coaches.
Yeah, we could fire this guy in 10 seconds. You say the word, I'll do it.
Like, I think they're still paying both Brian Harsin and Harsin and Gus Malzahn buyouts.
They love firing coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn loves firing coaches. I don't know. Like, I believe that Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. I believe that the person who was in his shoes right now is set up for a really difficult time.
You're
it's just
following a
hard.
legend in a time where that legend knew that he wasn't going to be as good, so he left to then tell us about how everything is awful while making commercials all the time that Connor never sees.
No.
And then you're left in a difficult job in a tough conference, and the expectations are out of whack with reality. So it's not a Kalen. I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. Like, I think it makes sense to lock up.
It's
really
about
good coach.
what is the market for him right now.
The thing that's wild is I never would have thought Alabama thought it necessary to sign him to this. Now, if the buyout isn't that big, then whatever. But it was surprising to me the timing of all of it.
At the same time, like you said, at the end of last season, it felt like there was. I don't know. It's hard to tell how much of it was courtship by other teams and how much of it was like
Gamesmanship by
agents doing work, those type of things. But there did seem to be a market for him at the end of last year. And so, while the buzz on him, as far as the Alabama fans, is not good because he's simply not Nick Saban, I think everyone in a very general way, everyone around college football that's not Alabama fans looks at Kalen DeBoer and says, oh my God, if if he becomes available, he is number one on my list right now.
Yeah, I was going
Like,
to say, like,
he was the hottest name in college football 2 years ago. That's why Alabama hired him.
well, and even just extending it to now, like, was there anyone hired in the last cycle that you would have taken over Kalen DeBoer in a 1-to-1 scenario?
That actually moved.
Yeah. The only
No.
one I can think of one.
It's
and
not James Franklin.
Well, yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
only one I can think of. And his scenario is different because he got let go, so he's taking a job.
I'm not taking James Franklin over Kalen.
Yeah, I would take James Franklin, but I get why you would.
Really?
Yeah, but I also I think James Franklin's really, really good, and he did it at Vanderbilt, he did it at Penn State. I think Virginia Tech's going to be really good in short order. I think he was strategic in picking Virginia Tech because the ACC is a little bit easier to kind of break through there than other conferences. I think
This is interesting. This is a good discussion because both of them are undervalued. Were undervalued by the schools that they were coaching at.
Yeah.
Obviously, Virginia Tech doesn't undervalue.
I like
Franklin
Matt
now,
Campbell.
but-
Matt Campbell is not going to achieve what James Franklin achieved. I'd be shocked if he does that, let alone better.
I agree. I agree completely. Like I think highly of James Franklin as well, but I'd take Kalen DeBoer.
It's not like I would not be unhappy with either one of those guys as my head coach.
No.
Well, let me phrase it that way.
Yeah.
I feel like you're talking about two of the top probably 10 coaches in the sport.
And so it goes to show you, I mean, there's a market for these guys. I mean, you know,
oh yeah.
while everybody's sitting at home on their couches in their mom's basement, they're unhappy because the Tide aren't winning national championships. Everyone else in the country would be like, can you please fire him so he becomes available to me? Can you please not extend him so he comes available to me? That would be
Can
great.
he please just be sick of your, stuff so
And then
he can
leave?
decide to just leave on
Yeah,
his own?
what is the most likely end to that? It's got to be him getting fired, right?
It's either him getting fired or him taking another job, being a step in front of, But the question is, like, what job? Like, what would he be waiting for? Because any job that you're probably taking from Alabama is going to have a comparable sense of, like, you've got to achieve. So you're going to have that wherever you go.
Yeah, but they'd be
more of
happy
a-
to have him. It's probably a little bit. It's probably a program that hadn't won 8 national championships
Right.
over the span of 15 years or whatever it was.
Which is everyone.
Yeah, literally everyone.
And it's also, I wonder if there's
Everybody
maybe a
but
better,
everybody but Georgia would probably be happy
right.
to have Kalen DeBoer.
Well, I think they would, if they weren't going to have Kirby Smart, then it becomes a question of, like, okay, what else is out there? But I wonder if there's, like, a better cultural fit, perhaps, for Kalen DeBoer. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I've always felt like the Alabama
Oh,
thing
it's odd.
for a South Dakota guy who was in the Pacific Northwest and Fresno was a weird fit.
Agreed.
Also, someone who cut his teeth at Indiana. That's kind of where he blew up a little.
Potential good game. We look at head coaches around the country and we ask, how is this going to end?
Oh, I like this. And it's 3 options. They leave, they get fired, they retire.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
Retire or NFL. Like, those are the,
Okay. Yeah. Throw that in there.
So that's the only way any of it ends. There's no other.
Do you think we can put this together today? Do you think we can do this topic today?
We could definitely put together a list.
We could do it. We could do it either today or tomorrow.
Well, do we want to start with the group that just ended up at new jobs and just start with the new hire class and then work our way out?
Yeah, that's a good way to start. But I was sort of thinking like everybody, like
okay, yeah,
not everyone, but the main coaches.
Well, we don't even need.
It's almost a stock report.
We don't need to assemble a list. We just throw names in.
I suppose we could just look at the internet.
Yeah,
and look at the names.
I'm in on this game. I love throwing names.
All right, how does it end? How does it end?
And we're not talking about the play at first base from last night.
Retirement, firing, or
they leave,
take
another job
for another job.
Yeah,
I guess there is some subcategories inside the take another job category. There's like, running from
escape out of town,
and then there's like
upward
advanced
mobility.
Career
You can specify what nature their leaving would be.
Okay. Yeah. All right, mark it. We're going to do that at some point over the next 2 shows. We'll take a break. We'll come back right at the hour after this here on 1620 The Zone. A couple comments on coaches' contracts from y'all. Here's Comp Eliminator Matt on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. He tweets at me at Connor Happer. Can I ask why universities keep extending coaches to 5+ year rollovers? The old excuse was so recruits know the coach will be there their whole career. With the portal now, 4 to 5 years at one school is a dinosaur. Maybe it's time to stop building huge buyouts. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, but once you've opened up the door, I mean,
the agents have won. I mean, there's really no other way
it
to phrase
doesn't go down.
This is also one of those things where it's like coaches complain so much about something that wasn't really a huge issue. He needs to be there for 4 to 5 years, which statistically wasn't really bearing out over Power 5 schools even a decade ago. And it's even lower now. So, but they won that battle, and it's trying to, put everything back in the box after you dumped it out.
It's the same story as, like, I don't know, 35 years ago, you would have said, wait a minute, I don't know when the first coach to break $1 million a year was. Probably 2000-ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good question.
In 1990, they would have been like, come on. I know these coaches are getting paid a lot of money, but you're telling me in 10 years they're going to be making $1 million. Get out of here. Like, get out of town. And then in 2000, like if somebody would have told you that in 2026, the 3 highest paid coaches, I think the highest paid coach makes $15 million a year now. Yeah. If you would have told them that in 2000, they would have been like, there's no way. So what about 2050? What are they going to make in 2050? And the answer is probably like $40 million.
So you guessed 35 years ago?
For the first coach that cracked $1 million a year.
You were really close.
Yeah, I would say.
Do you have any guesses as to who it was? The first to $1 million, the first to $2 million are they played each other yearly. They're legendary coaches.
Bobby Bowden.
Yes.
And
the old ball coach.
Steve Spurrier.
Yeah. Bowden was the first to $1 million in 95. Spurrier by 97 was $2 million a year.
There you go.
And so
now we're making $12.5 million a year, and they got mega buyouts, and it's just going to keep going. Like I it sucks and is stupid. And every time anyone talks about the money that is or isn't present in college football, this is mentioned. Like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we just cut back on the coaches' salaries and cut down the buyouts? And then all of a sudden, people aren't so much scrounging for money anymore.
But
it's like,
no one will do it.
Easier said than done.
It'll never happen.
Go ahead and try. Go ahead and try and pay a coach $850,000 a year. See if it works for you. See what kind of program you become. I agree with everything the tweeter is saying, but
I don't think either one of us would argue it. The other problem to that is you want to pay a coach a lot less. Coordinators are now in the $2 million range.
That's right.
So that's not going back either.
Wait, did Tom Osborne eventually at the end of his career get over $1 million?
I think it was. I want to say.
I think he was.
In my head, it was 600,000.
I want to say didn't they sort of honorarily
maybe as the AD
get him up to $1 million right at the end of his coaching career? And
so during the final years as football coach in the mid 1990s, his salary was roughly 127 to 138,000.
Okay, that's
plus bonuses. As the athletic director, he was paid.
Are you listening to Al?
I believe it. I mean, I definitely believe the athletic director part, because that was, not that long ago.
What was he making as the AD?
250 to 328,000 or 328,000. Yeah. And that was, that was 2012, right in that range. No, 2008 to 2012. So that tracks. For the most part,
2008 to 2012, he was making 200,000 as the AD.
250 to 328,000.
Yeah, man,
that's insane.
That seems. I mean, what's Danon's making over $1 million?
Over $1 million.
Yeah,
Bill Moose, I think, was the first to make over $1 million. So,
weird.
And that was for a part-time AD who only focused on one sport that never won any games. So
that's true. Shout out to Crab Creek.
You're better spreading your money around than what they did there.
Here's Terry on the Equitable Bank inbox. Hi guys, does our new buddy in Bloomington, Indiana, get a raise because of the Alabama extension? I'm not a lawyer and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, But I thought since he won the Natty, he had a clause that said he had to be in the top 3 salaries in the nation. It's good to be the king, Terry. Indeed, he does, Terry. Indeed, he does. If that was a thing, if he won the national championship, they had to like immediately roll over the contract and make him a top. It was either 3 or 5 paid coach in the country, and he is.
If again we're going off of your friends at AI, he's already 3rd, and he would be ahead of.
He was already pretty close.
Yeah,
but
Kirby's still the highest.
He has to stay in the top 3 of yearly salaries among coaches.
It's Kirby, Signetti, Kiffin, and then it looks like it would be DeBoer Day would be the next 2 after.
I cannot wait to talk about Kurt Signetti a little bit later on in the show and sort of compare how he operates to a lot of other folks.
Some fun names that we'll get to play our game with over here.
Yeah, we got to play our game too. Hire, fire, or retire.
That's a great game.
Hire, fire, or retire.
It's a great game.
I'm excited to see what happens when Matt Rule comes up.
Well,
we don't have to put any time limits on anything. Remember, it's just how does it end?
We're predicting we need to have like a this by 2030 kind of thing, or just in general?
I think it's in general.
Okay, all right.
I think it's in general. All right, so stay tuned for that. Also, get in your opinions. We'll have I have an opinion coming up in just about an hour. Hit us up any way you'd like to get in touch with the show. But the easiest way to do so is on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happer and Schaefer. We'll come back 7 o'clock hour. Still plenty to come on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Looks like we got a little precip in the Omaha metro area this morning. Stay safe out there. It's going to be some storms potentially later on in the afternoon, but I am looking forward to, I don't know when the storms are supposed to be rolling in, but I am looking forward to the notice about 2 hours before the storms are supposed to hit. It looks like it's going to go south, or it looks like it's going to go north. I'm fired up. Oma Dome, fired up, baby. Ready to rock.
Will be the first storm at the new house. You can see what it looks like outside the windows and
exciting.
All that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
I'll be able to see it rolling in. There's really nothing out to the west of me.
We have big northwest facing windows, and so it's pretty fantastic when it storms. You just sit back there and watch it roll over the field and everything.
Wow. As we get a little country city life.
Yeah. For the next maybe year and a half, I still have that.
Before there's more.
And then there will be a neighborhood.
There will be more houses and more houses.
Were you guys more of a beer on the porch when the storms are happening, or do you just kind of stay inside?
So my first house, I had an awesome overhang that allowed me to sit out, but I didn't really have I had a view of the rest of the crappy neighborhood. And so that wasn't great, but I like to sit out for it. I also had that in the back, and that was nice too. Second house had an overhang in the back that sat up on an elevated deck. That was great for watching things. Third house just has giant windows, so I'll just stay inside.
Stay inside, yeah.
Also every house I've had has had an outstanding backyard overhang.
Oh,
apparently
nice.
This is subconsciously something I look for.
That's
every time.
Well, it suits you.
It makes sense.
You're a big backyard overhang guy.
My smoking and blackstoning and all of that other stuff.
Nice. There is something oddly tranquil about just sitting out there. Oftentimes I feel like the weather doesn't cooperate with when you are just sitting out. In the pre-storm, it's still kind of miserable sometimes.
Or the wind is just whipping so bad.
Right. And so it doesn't make sense to be outside. But yeah, if at all possible, I will try to sort of peacefully take in the storm. Either that or squeeze in the last bit of something that I have to actually do before it happens.
Even if it's not storming, sometimes the other day, Tuesday, it was super nice and finished mowing. And I just sat down in the chair and just I don't need to do anything for 15 minutes and just stared off into space. It was wonderful.
So much fun.
Highly recommend.
So much fun. It's great. What about you, Jake? You sitting out there on the porch?
Oh, I like to sit on the, if there's a tornado, I'm definitely not the go to the basement guy. I'm I kind of want to see what's happening.
Absolutely.
What percentage of Nebraskans do you think go to the basement? 2? 20 at max?
Yeah, 20 at max.
No one I know takes it overly serious. Now people will, if it's in your area, obviously it's
we always took it really serious when I was growing up.
Oh,
yeah, man. Probably not so much now, but we always took it really pretty serious when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't remember my parents ever being yeah, we got to get to the basement.
Yeah, that happened a few times.
No, it was never. And then they'd be overnight, and you'd wake up and you'd find out the next morning. And my mom,
whoa,
my mom's
we really started taking that more serious.
My mom's explanation was always it was just north of us or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't really going to come through the middle of our neighborhood.
Well, after you've been through it a few times, you're oh yeah, I've seen stuff like this before.
Well, but you do have the moments
there's some bad ones. Yeah.
So maybe there's more people in my neck of the woods taking it serious than ever before.
That's true.
They've went through it.
Bad times.
Yeah, that's brutal to experience.
It rolled right through. Welcome back, by the way, 7:00 hour. So stay safe, everybody out there today. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Tonight is the first round of the NFL draft. It will last about as long, if not slightly longer, than last night's 15-10 Creighton Omaha baseball game. We'll keep a timer on that one.
Just run them side by side.
We just see which one ends first. I think the draft's going longer.
Yeah.
How long is your audio recording, Jake, of the game? Because we started and then the first pitch was thrown immediately after that.
So. It was 3 hours and 27 minutes.
That's not that bad. That's not as bad as I thought.
The draft will be much longer.
All right, the draft is going to be longer than that.
At the 3 hour, 27-minute mark, I hope the Vikings have selected by that point.
18th.
Yeah.
18th.
They should.
They need to pair somebody along with 9.
In theory, have selected by them, but whether they will or not, I don't know.
You never know. So Nebraska, according to most, I suppose you never know how it goes in the late rounds, like it did last year when Nebraska got Thomas Fedoni kind of, I don't know about surprise drafted
he
late.
was going to get drafted.
Yeah,
that
but
one
he went like
surprise me.
way late in the 7th. It was like almost at the very end of the
I thought
draft.
he would have gone a little earlier with what the sort of conversation was. And then it kind of worked out for him with the Giants. So,
yeah,
the fit actually went pretty well.
So you never know how it's going to go as far as late in the draft, but Emmett Johnson is expected to be a middle round selection in this upcoming draft. So he's not going to go tonight. But there is an expectation that he goes in this draft. Let's talk about him for a few minutes as a player at the NFL level. I was talking about this yesterday with Mitch on our podcast, which I think just came out a few minutes ago. So if you want to hear me say the same thing in a different place, then go ahead and listen to that. But I think he's got an interesting blend of a couple different things going for him as a projectable piece. You know about the athleticism, what he could, he's a capable running back, but at that position in particular, you're sort of looking for some peripherals. You're sort of looking like, all right, what's the background on this guy? And his particular background is really interesting because he is an older guy, even though he still had a year of eligibility left.
22.
He has not had a lot of run on him as far as carries are concerned at the collegiate level, so not like a ton of wear and tear, but he also was the entire offense this year at Nebraska. So he is both he both doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him and can show that he could shoulder the load in offense, which I think is a really sort of unique blend. Ultimately, it's about fit and where guys end up. But I find that to be an interesting thing that probably works for him as far as being a draft prospect and what he's done to sort of move up boards during this pre-draft time.
Yeah, it's interesting listening to analysts kind of when they have discussed him or he's come up. A lot of what you hear is, he doesn't have the top end speed that some of your elite running backs will have in terms of breakaway, but his two best skills seem to be his ability to make people miss in like a very
I think it's short area quickness.
hole, like short hole, small hole area quickness there that you're talking about. And then the other thing teams just love is he's really shown up as a pass catcher in a draft where there's not that many of them.
I think he got a lot better as a pass blocker as well.
Yeah, that's still a deficiency, but it's from where it was to where it is now a lot better. And those are the role that he's going to have to carve out for himself. And the running back that he reminds me of a little bit, and this isn't like a full one-to-one comparison.
Come on, give it to me.
Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can utilize him out of the backfield. You can hand him the ball. He can be a third down running back for you. He's got to get better in pass protection if he's going to do that more. But that's the sort of running back that I kind of like. I don't know that he's going to be a star in the NFL, but I think he's going to have a productive and relatively long career.
I do think he'll stick around for a while. I mean, he's obviously the most visible, player that Nebraska's had at like a skill spot since.
That's the thing that stands out. It's like, who's even close?
No,
Trey Palmer,
probably.
And it's like he was
a late kind of late push that just got snuck in there.
It's also like he just, you look at Trey Palmer's highlights, not to take anything away from it, but it's like, yeah, he ran by that guy.
Yeah.
Watching Amir, you saw the work, just put on the Maryland game and you can see his whole highlight.
I think he has a couple things in common with Amir. I mean, number one, being a running back from Nebraska and sort of, shouldering the load for an offense. Amir did it in 2014.
Yeah, I think I said Amir when I meant Emmett, but yes, I agree. There's comparisons there.
And Emmett did it in 2025. And also, I think as backs at the NFL level, like projectable backs, neither of them do one thing like super duper well.
They're well-rounded.
They're just really well-rounded backs. And there's two things with those types of guys. Number one, they don't go very high in the draft because they don't have one outstanding quality. But number two, they stick around for a while and they always tend to find homes. I mean, look at Amir. He's still kicking in the NFL, which is sort of absurd to me. So
Well, I was going to say,
I think there's a couple things there.
Emmett also brings, roster value to you in that he would be a potential kick returner. I don't know if he'd return punts, but I definitely think he could return kicks in the NFL. Though, again, top end speed would probably limit him a little bit in that regard. And then I also think he could be like a special teams player for you in your coverage units and things of that nature. Like, I just think like he can bring enough versatility, which is why I don't expect him to be like, if you're listening to this for fantasy advice, I don't expect him to be an RB1 someday.
Nice, Schaefer.
But I do think that he could be a guy that has some appeal for a roster where it's like, maybe you don't have running back completely figured out, but the floor is that you've got this guy that can be pretty productive.
I think so too. And then it becomes about, where do you end up? What kind of franchise and offense do you end up in?
And then how does he improve as he becomes a professional?
And so I have little doubt about that. I like, from Emmett's standpoint, we've seen it.
Yeah.
We know that he's going to get better and stay hard at work. And like, I have no doubt about that piece of it. It's just, you never know when you get these guys into these situations. All right, what's their, what is the organization that they've been drafted by? Think of them. Where do they place them immediately? Who's around them? What's the offense? And what's the long-term like there's a world where Amir was productive in the early portion of his career, but like if he ends up on a different team, I mean, it could end up completely different for him,
Yep.
and he could have a different looking career. So there's just there's so much luck that is tied into being a good NFL back for a long time. But to stick around, I feel like that is sort of just being well-rounded and having that sort of, determination. And Emmett has it. So I'm pretty sure that he sticks around for a while.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We get a comment from Mustache Adam, who writes it on YouTube. What percentage of shock would you say you had if he ended up as a starter somewhere in the next 3 to 5 years?
I don't think I'd be that shocked. I guess I'd be shocked if he like led the league in rushing or like,
right. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. Like, look at the backs and where they come from and their backgrounds.
Well, I think Gainwell is going to be the starter in Pittsburgh. Like,
look at dudes that start in the NFL. I mean, like Bucky Irving was a 4th round pick, and he started his career at Minnesota and ended up at Oregon and had 2 productive seasons.
One of the analysts I listened to was like comparing him to Bucky Irving in the sense of like, this is the sort of production you could get out of a 4th or 5th round.
I mean, he was one of the best backs in the league before he got hurt. He was one of the most productive backs in the league last year.
Right.
And then he was really good this year until he was just hurt on and off the entire year. And so, and their season sort of went off the rails.
Right.
So I think that's a halfway decent comp. Mid-round draft pick. You could find value anywhere at that position. Look at the guys that start in the NFL.
Well,
It's not exclusively first-round draft picks.
Almost none of them are first-round draft. Like you have the exceptions with like Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, but for the most part, when you're looking around the league, like Aaron Jones wasn't a first-round running back. I'm trying to think of Chicago. I don't think DeAndre Swift.
Chicago.
Swift a second-round guy, I think, and so. With the Packers, they do have Josh Jacobs. He was a first-round guy, so I guess there's 2 in that division. But just looking through it, I mean, usually you're not using a first-round pick on a running back unless it's late in the first round. A lot of second, 3rd, 4th, 5th. You have guys that just emerge and become players for you, in that regard. So it's a position where you haven't had to spend a lot of capital. And we're seeing that kind of play out in college, too, where teams don't want to invest a ton of money at running back.
Yep.
Because you got other positions you need to put it towards.
Now, that is we've talked about this with Rule and Nebraska before. I always find that a little bit odd at the collegiate level, just because I feel like if you have a game-changing running back at this level, you could that really changes the look of your team in a hurry.
Yeah, if you put everything else that you need to around it, you can be a very successful.
And I suppose the same thing goes at the NFL level. There's just less people available that actually have that skill set
that can do that.
Exactly.
Like
Saquon. There's like 3 Saquons in the league, and that's
it. 3 Saquons in the sense that like there might be 3 over a 10-year span.
Right.
Like you go from an Adrian Peterson to a Derrick Henry to a Saquon Barkley.
Oh, and by the way, the Saquon of the year changes every year.
This year is Bijan.
Yeah.
Like I think he's the best running back in the NFL, but it's not like he's in his 2 years, he hasn't taken the Falcons to the playoffs.
It's such an interesting position. And so I think that he's got a lot of things working for him. And the last question as it pertains to Nebraska is this. Is there any scenario where we look back on this and feel like Emmett Johnson should have stayed another year? Not that was really ever in the cards after the season went along.
Right.
We just never really felt like that was going to be the case. But is there a chance that we're looking at this in
like
9
it's a Brandon
months?
Jacobs thing?
Yeah,
or not Brandon Jacobs, Brandon Jackson.
Brandon Jackson, right?
Brandon Jacobs. That's
Brandon Jacobs a running back
he
too.
was, but it's a very different Brandon.
Different kind of running back also.
Yeah, very different kind of running.
Is there any chance we're looking at this in like 9 months or a year and we're like, if he would have just came back one more year and had another great season underneath him?
I think it's if he just ends up with the wrong fit. But the thing is, and you kind of said it, and I certainly agree, like, I just have no doubt that he's going to work to make himself valuable.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first phone call I had with him as a recruit, and like you could just tell, high energy guy that was totally fine betting on himself, and he's done it in every single time, and he's come up successful.
Yep.
Those people tend to just stay successful.
I agree.
So
I think he'll hang around for a while. While we're on the draft for a minute here, any dudes that are mocked in the first round that you want to stake your flag to?
Yeah, I mean,
like, I like this guy and this is my guy. I've only had a few like, really standing on top of a mountain draft takes over the years. I do remember one really bad one, and it was in the year. I mean, we talked about the quarterback classes,
sure.
Which, by the way, I love having opinions on future quarterbacks. It's so much fun. We could talk about Mendoza if you want to,
sure.
But the year with Lamar and Rosen and Josh Allen and all those guys, I was like, it's very easy to tell who the bust is in this class, and it's Josh Allen.
Oh, man.
And then what a great story. I turned out to love Josh Allen. I now love Josh Allen.
I think he's one of the most popular players in the NFL.
He has to be, yes.
I feel like the people who don't like Josh Allen expressly don't like him because other people really like him.
Right.
Like, I think that's the whole
That's
reason
true. They're just zagging.
So that draft was great because I was really like, and you know this, you've done radio with me, really low on Baker Mayfield. And then now it's like,
you love Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
But I did not want the Cleveland Browns version of Baker Mayfield. I thought Josh Allen would be good. I never thought he'd be this. Like, I thought he could be an NFL quarterback. I thought Lamar Jackson would be great, and he has been. But I'm really worried that is going to be like a small era in time, and we're getting further from it.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Yeah, so as far as this one, I think Jeremiah Love is really good. Like, legitimately, if you ask me if I'd rather have Genty or Love, I would take Love over Ashton Genty. Like, if put those 1-to-1 comparisons.
Yeah.
And Genty went like number 5 or number 6 last year to the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Love is fantastic. I mean, we saw it in the college football playoff a few years ago. That guy was incredible for them down the stretch.
Can he turn around the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, can anyone? Maybe if he gets to join his buddy Ty Simpson.
Dear God.
Yeah, I know. And they get to throw to Marvin Harrison. Talk about like.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad for him. Yeah. What happened?
Well, he got stuck in Arizona.
He was a can't miss.
And I don't know that he's missed, but he hasn't hit.
No, he had an okay rookie year, but a really bad last year.
And then it's interesting. I like both of the Notre Dame running backs. Those are the top two guys. They're different. They're very different in what they end up doing. But both of those guys I'm a fan of. Caleb Downs, like everybody.
Everybody loves Caleb Downs.
I realize that my positional crush, like every year, there's always a safety. Like a couple years ago is Kyle Hamilton. Love Kyle Hamilton. Never dreamed that he would be available when Minnesota would pick. He is available. They're on the clock. I'm like, this is the most obvious thing ever. You can get Kyle Hamilton. You pair him with
and then what'd they do?
You pair him with Harrison Smith. Your great safety play until Harrison Smith retires. And then they traded the pick to the Detroit Lions, who then selected Jamison Williams, which was odd. And then the Vikings.
It kind of worked out, even though they had to sit through the suspension for a little while.
Then the Vikings, with the pick that they get from the Lions, end up selecting a safety who they cut 2 years later because he was so bad he couldn't play.
And you're just sitting there the entire time.
And I'm just thinking, you could have had Kyle Hamilton.
Draft Kyle Hamilton.
You could have an all-pro safety next to an all-pro safety for like a 20-year stretch.
And then he ended up
With the Ravens.
With the
because
Ravens,
the
of
Ravens,
course.
the Eagles. There's certain teams that just don't overthink it.
Well, this is one thing that will pop out tonight, as it does every single year. Those types of teams, when they draft a guy, and you could just stamp it right away.
Yeah.
The Ravens with defenders, specifically like linebackers and defensive backs, you're just like,
Was it
wow.
Patrick Queen? And it's like, well, of course they're going to get Patrick Queen, and of course he's going to.
This guy's going to be really good there for. What's another team that has that with
the
a specific
Eagles
position?
do, and what the Eagles do is like
The Eagles maybe with offensive linemen.
Yeah, the Eagles have offensive linemen, but just college stars. Like, oh, Nakobe Dean's too small. Oh, we'll put him in Philadelphia, and he's going to be just fine. Cooper DeJean doesn't look like every other corner in the NFL. Oh, we'll put him in Philadelphia. He'll be just fine. Jalen Carter can't drive. We'll put him in Philadelphia. He'll be just fine.
Don't let him in a car.
You know, like Jordan Adams is not good enough to be an every down defensive tackle. Oh, we'll put him in Philadelphia, and he'll be just fine. Like Howie Roseman doesn't overthink it. These guys are studs in college, and they meet certain measurables. He'll draft them, and they'll be good in the NFL.
There's also, I think that there's something that changes. Like every
when
year,
you go to the Eagles,
every year there's somebody at the end of the first round, aka a good franchise who has won a lot of games recently. You're just like, oh yeah, I mean that was obvious. I don't know why that person didn't go higher, but at the same time, if they end up on a poop team at picks early in the first round, their career doesn't end up the same at all. Like it's the fit and the player.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Well, there's also just like, oh, Jerry Jones was interested in this guy and nobody else was. Yeah, I can write him off.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Too. Oh, the Raiders took someone that wasn't on anyone else's top 32. That tracks.
I will plant my flag with an Indiana Hoosier. I love Omar Cooper.
I saw that pulled up. I was like, okay,
I love Omar Cooper.
I can co-sign on this. If you're taking a wide receiver, I'd feel good about that.
This is Omar Cooper was the man who made Gus Johnson do this.
Gus Johnson be doing.
He definitely does, but
so I would rather probably have Omar Cooper than Mekhi Lemon.
I agree,
and I think
I don't know why
relatively contriversial. I think it's because we've just seen him come up with big catches, big plays. It looks like it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean there's a bunch of wide receivers that are sort of in that. I mean, in Dane Brugler's mock draft, he's the 5th wide receiver.
Yeah,
off the board. So he has Carnell Tate, who is really good. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, and then Mekhi Lemon from USC. All before you get to him. So he's the 4th. He's ranked as the 5th wide receiver, but he has him going a little bit earlier. And then you have the next guy who I don't know he would have. Oh, Concepcion.
Yeah,
who people really like.
Who's small though?
From Texas
that's kind of the big thing, right?
Yep. I am planting my flag next to Omar Cooper.
All right.
Do I only have to pick one?
No, you can pick as many as you want.
Do you want to talk about Mendoza for a second before we
let's
move
talk
off
Mendoza.
draft stuff? What is the most likely outcome for his Raiders career?
I don't know that it's plays out in the same way because the Raiders probably didn't just hire the next Sean McVay, but I think that he ends up with sort of a Jared Goff-like career where he's always an NFL starter, but he's probably not ever going to be one of the 8 best starters in the league, but he's never going to be one of the worst 12. So he's somewhere between 10 and 20 every year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess above average to good.
I think there's a lower floor than that.
Okay.
I think there's a lower and maybe some of it is my brain is Raiders poisoned just because I just believe that everything that happens there is destined to fail.
History would be in your favor.
Right.
Certainly not there.
But I'm trying to remove that from it. And, I know he played a lot, obviously he played a lot of snaps at Cal and all that stuff too. It just feels like the star has really risen very quickly for him to where in a normal scenario in a non-Indiana, tie, he's probably not even a first rounder. And that career ends up on a different track or starting off on a different track.
Could I argue that you just described Joe Burrow to a T?
Absolutely. 100%.
But there's a vibe that came with Joe Burrow that doesn't come with Mendoza. I kind of get that.
A little he's not quite as dynamic of a personality,
Well,
probably.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
Burrow, it felt like you had the entire total package.
Yeah.
Here, it's like, okay, I can see it on the football field. I don't know about everything else, but I can see it on the football field.
yeah. Is he the face of a franchise in a
Right.
in a non goofy funny kind of way?
Is
I
he
don't
the face of
know.
a franchise and not specifically a Midwestern college town?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a real question.
So I don't know.
That's where the neck tat jokes come in.
I think there's a chance where I think there's a chance that it could potentially bottom out. But if he's going 1-1, so he's going to get some chances in his career. I mean, there's been a lot of guys in recent drafts who have, we just talked about all the quarterbacks yesterday. Sometimes they go off and they get chances for 3 or 4 years at the franchise that they get drafted by, and then they end up having very lucrative and productive careers as backups for a long time. I think that could be where Fernando Mendoza ends up. And then obviously it could work out well as well. But I don't know if luck's on his side for the franchise he's going to.
No,
if I had to guess, I think it ends up on the negative side of even for Fernando Mendoza.
Okay, I'd probably take the positive side then. But like I said, it's not that I think the ceiling is so high. I just think he has a really high floor. Like I think it's sort of, we both end up, no one's talking ceiling with Mendoza, but
no,
you have the floor a little lower. I have it higher. Like I think he's a really safe quarterback in that regard.
Well, he's going to go first overall. It's going to take 27 minutes to get to that pick tonight, even though everyone has known the number one pick.
Will the pick happen by 7:15?
Very, very long time. Let's take a break. We'll come back after this on 1620 The Zone.
It's been brought to my attention that there is a bracketology from Joe Lunardi. Of course, the season ended about 3 weeks ago, and the transfer portal is not yet decided and rosters aren't yet complete, but we yet have a bracketology, which is great. I love the content, to be quite honest with you. Not that it means anything. I'm just glad it exists.
I should have screenshotted last year. He put one out that had Nebraska in the tournament in the off season. I was like, okay, all right. He was buying the crown hype at that time.
People always say potential bubble team, Nebraska. They were not a bubble team at all this year. So in his bracket watch, he does the top overall seed, last team in, and first team out. Last team in, Iowa. Down on the Hawks is Dr. Brackets.
Me too.
Joe Lunardi. Nebraska appears to be in the field as a 5 seed playing High Point.
Yeah.
Interesting. In Omaha.
That's exciting.
Now, that would be quite the confluence of people. Obviously, a lot of Nebraska fans, but maybe some High Point fans as well.
Now, I know it works better with the Connor World Series because obviously, your name is Connor and college also starts with the same letter that your name starts with. How would you feel if it was Nebraska playing
not
in
the
Omaha?
Same? Yeah, not the same.
Because you would be off worried about something else entirely.
Probably. And also, like, while I appreciate the vibe and the feel that Omaha gets when it hosts the NCAA tournament, which it will next year, like, it's not like I have my calendar set to it.
Sure. Well, you're generally not really thinking about it because
Right.
you're thinking about wherever Creighton's at.
And the tournament at large.
Right.
Like, okay. I haven't been to a tournament game in Omaha since the regional round was here.
Okay.
Which I guess was the
I
second
have
to last
never
time.
been to one in
Wow.
Omaha. Yeah.
I went to the famous Missouri.
Okay. You're at Missouri Norfolk State.
Yep, that was a good one. Then
Yeah, I remember that.
the famous KU Duke game, of course, among a few others in Omaha. But last time the tournament came here, I was out of town in Pittsburgh with Creighton. So Nebraska in Omaha playing High Point, 5-12 game, dangerous. Nebraska, are they the sacrificial lamb of High Point as Wisconsin was this year? We will find out.
It'll be their student call versus Nebraska's student call.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you told me that Creighton ended up in an interesting position. First of all, in the tournament, one of the last 4 in, according to Dr. Brackets, a 10 seed play-in with, okay, so does he have the tournament expanded here?
I think he does.
I guess, so 11 seed play-in, 10, no, he doesn't. This is weird. Anyway, a 10 seed play-in, Creighton VCU. Shout out to Blake Harper in that game. And then winner gets Vanderbilt. Shout out to Berke Buchtengel and Bangot Dak in that game. And Tyler Tanner. Maybe he'll make the half-court shot this time.
Yeah, look, that would be scary. He would be as motivated as anybody. And they would be way out there in Sacramento.
Nice. Creighton's been there for the NCAA tournament before.
Have they? I didn't know that. When were they there? Like way back in the early 2000s?
I think that was, oh boy, they all sort of mixed together now. I want to say that was one of the Doug years.
Yeah, I would. Oh, well, so that'd be early 2010s.
Yes. Creighton NCAA tournament history. John would know off the top of his head because he was at all or most of them.
Now, actually, how many NCAA tournament games has John called?
A lot. I mean,
upper 20s at this point?
No, I don't know about upper 20s, but probably into the 20s.
Yeah,
or close to the 20s because they've won. I mean, Kalkbrenner himself won like 11 games in the NCAA tournament or something like that. It was kind of absurd.
You know, and then they made it around to 32 a bunch.
There was life before Kalkbrenner. That's for sure.
Life before Kalkbrenner.
People forget about life before Kalkbrenner. So the North Carolina year was in Greensboro. The Duke year was in Philly. And then the Baylor year was in San Antonio.
Yep. Yeah, I knew that.
So then they didn't make the tournament again until 16-17. That was in Sacramento. That was the Rhode Island disaster.
Oh, okay.
Round of 64.
I remember that one.
The old Rhode Island disaster. And then there was the K-State disaster the next year, and that was in Charlotte.
I don't remember the K-State.
And then disasters stopped happening. Well, the K-State disaster was famous because
they were the 8th seed or something.
and the UMBC.
Yeah.
That was the UMBC. Yeah.
Beat Virginia. Yeah.
And then the disasters stopped. And then they started winning NCAA tournament games. Like
Which is where Nebraska finds itself.
much more frequently. Maybe the disasters are over.
Wow.
What a great bracketology. Thank you, Joe Lenardi. I appreciate this. Speaking of college basketball, I stumbled upon another Evan Maekawa situation yesterday. So he does transfer portal rankings in a really, I think, cool and interesting way. So he not only ranks the incoming transfer classes according to his player rankings on evanmy.com, but he also does overall transfer portal activity rank, which means it combines the guys with your losing with the guys that you're
added,
you're getting. And so in the overall transfer activity rank, Louisville is number 1 to nobody's surprise, but both in the top 25, Creighton at number 14 and Nebraska at number 21, which I find that sort of interesting. I mean, given now Nebraska didn't lose really anything out of the transfer portal. They lost a lot of production from normal life, graduation and things.
Exhausting of eligibility.
Yeah, which I never thought was real, but exhausting of eligibility apparently exists for some.
Not in the Deep South.
Maybe not for Jamarcus Lawrence. We'll find out. But they did get a couple transfers in. So they came in at number 21. Creighton come in at number 14. Creighton actually lost quite a lot in the transfer portal as far as the people are concerned, but not as far as the production is concerned. So that's why they end up where they end up. So good vibes for both the Jays and the Skurs.
Yeah, it sure seems like, I think if you gave each coach truth serum, they would admit to being fairly happy with how things have played out to this point. I mean, I'm sure Hoiberg would have liked to have gotten Drew Fielder, but how that went, I think they were okay with that too. So ultimately, with what your resources are and what you're going after, I think both programs did pretty well.
He might even be okay with how the Berkay situation, ended up.
I don't think there's a might there. I really don't. I think there's more to that than probably just the money piece of it too. So I think
guys get agents and then all of a sudden they just burn bridges.
Well, and it's also just like, Berkay had been there for 2 years. That's a lot of time.
He got his tattoo.
He got his tattoo. And I think that Fred has a style that maybe he wasn't as strong of a fit for what they want. So, and the emotional leader aspect of it, which was really valuable for Nebraska this past year, it may not have had as much value the upcoming year.
Yeah, I mean, because you're changing and there's
the roster's just going to be.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff going on. Mr. C Math tweets in at us, John Bishop calling a Creighton NCAA tournament game, and then he tweets the clip of Jason Green's putback dunk against Oregon in the NCAA tournament. That was in Pittsburgh a couple years ago, where he just shouts, Jason Green! And Nick is also shouting Jason Green, and I was sitting right next to him. This is when I was getting basically murdered by Nick Baugh. I was sitting right next to him the entire game, and he would just grab my shoulders and shake me the entire game. What an epic game. What an epic basketball game.
The Oregon game?
Yeah, the Oregon.
Yeah, the one that went into overtime.
Yes. It was midnight.
I was thinking
I was delirious.
Of the Creighton tournament games that I've watched, and there's more than you would think, it's probably the best game, quality of game that I can think of. I mean, there's obviously the win against Florida where you had the big ending.
Ooh,
Terrell Taylor.
What's the best NCAA tournament game that Creighton has
won? And then the other one that comes to mind for me is, I think it's what they played the Gauchos and they won late in
the
that
Santa
one.
Barbara. Yeah,
that was a good game.
That one was more scary than anything because they
were
were
viewing it from a very different lens that I would be viewing it from.
Right. Yeah, you were excited, probably. Go Santa Barbara.
I mean, I had all that stuff shipped to my house and had to send it back to Amazon.
I would say not the San Diego State game, but the other San Diego State game with the Baby Jays.
The great thing for me is I know neither of these games. So.
The other San Diego State game was a really good one. And it like
you would probably say the Kansas game, right?
but they lost.
Yeah,
they lost.
Well, I mean,
they had like 6 players.
People feel very, people feel very. I feel very good feelings when I think about that team. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ryan Hawkins. That was that year. And so the first San Diego State game.
Okay.
And then they played KU and lost, who ended up winning the national championship that year. The Baylor, not the Baylor game, the other Baylor game, the second Baylor game, which was now 3 years ago in Denver. That was really special.
The Connor Happer car trip.
That was really special. That was the one to get to they had been to the Sweet 16 the year before, but to really break through, and it was against Baylor, and the way they did it, and they smoked them, and Nemhard, or at the end they smoked them because Nemhard had the no yes.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then that team ended up going to the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
And then played the other San Diego State game.
Which
was bad.
I never saw. Book of Mormon was great that day.
Yeah, Peter writes, he says, best overall Creighton performance, Creighton beating Baylor as a 6 in the round of 32. That was great. That was the one I was just referencing. By the way, Sam writes in, he says, around the K-State disaster, there wasn't like anywhere near hot seat with Mac, but there was some lingering questions about the round of 32 just being his ceiling. No doubt about it. There was definitely some questions about whether he was able to win in the NCAA.
Yeah, I distinctly remember filling in during those times, and you'd have people calling in and basically being like, this isn't the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I would take McDermott 10
of
times
course.
out of 10.
Of course.
And obviously, Miles was the coach.
It came out that way because, like Sam said, it was just a frustration that they weren't able to break through.
You're watching everybody else have these runs, and you're wondering when Creighton would potentially.
And they were supposed to do it a couple different times. Right. Obviously, there was the Doug team that got smoked by Baylor. But then the 2 years that they made it, 2 years later, the Rhode Island and K-State games, it was like, ooh, man.
Yeah,
they just
McDermott
can't play
team,
well in the NCAA tournament.
That McDermott team and that Baylor team was just such a unfortunately bad matchup.
That sucked. They were way too athletic, unfairly athletic.
Well, they had the guy who eventually couldn't have the
Isaiah
NBA
Austin.
career.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was like 9 feet tall.
He was against both Nebraska and Creighton. It's like, this doesn't seem fair.
Let's get a 9 feet tall guy playing against Gregory Echenike.
Right. Didn't go great for Gregory.
No, it didn't go well for anybody. Let's take a break. We'll come back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we got a few minutes here. Let's get to the headlines, courtesy of Jake Janicek this morning. Jake, what do we have?
So we got England Nature Festival organizers clarify it is not a nudist event.
It is not a nudist event.
I would like to know why people thought that it was. So there's questions certainly here for sure.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at the second one.
And we got a local one here. Lincoln woman arrested for allegedly pointing gun at pregnant woman during gender reveal party.
I love the local angle. I will say that. I really like the first story too, but I think I have to go.
We support local.
Support
Gotta go
local.
local.
We support local. Let's go to. I think this is a story that was run by 1011 in Lincoln, but was originally maybe written by WWT in Omaha. I don't know, whatever it is. So shout out to both of those organizations. A Lincoln woman has been arrested after allegedly pointing a pink handgun at a pregnant woman during a gender reveal party in Elkhorn, according to authorities. Alexis Brown, 28, was booked into Douglas County Corrections on Monday morning for one count of terroristic threats. According to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, a deputy was dispatched to an apartment complex clubhouse in reference to a disturbance February 22nd at 5:42. February 22nd. The deputy questioned two people in a car outside what was going on, and they told them there had been a gender reveal party in the clubhouse. Entering the clubhouse, the deputy learned that the persons he had spoken to outside were, quote, possibly in possession of a firearm which had been pointed at a pregnant woman during the party. Interesting. I think I better check that out. However, the couple had already left by the time the deputy went back outside. The deputy made contact with the alleged and visibly pregnant victim. She said during the party, a child asked to use a Polaroid camera and was told no, causing the child's mother, who was Brown, to become upset. Brown began screaming threats and attempted to fight the mother-to-be at her own gender reveal party, but was pulled back by other attendees, the report states. At some point, Brown pulled a pink and silver handgun from her purse, pointed at the pregnant woman, and yelled, "I'm finna shoot you," per authorities, along with some other things. Brown also pointed the gun at her own uncle, who left the scene prior to the deputy's arrival. On February 25th, the deputy attempted to get a statement from Brown on the phone. Brown answered that she did not want to discuss the situation at this time, but confirmed that she was at the party and she was, quote, letting stuff die down, and that the incident could be summarized as, quote, family issues. The report reads, when the deputy suggested that the witnesses were terrified about what happened. I'll restart that sentence. When the deputy suggested that witnesses were terrified about what happened, Brown replied, quote, yeah. Brown is expected to appear in court Wednesday. Oh, were they terrified? Yeah. Yeah, they were. We had a pink handgun. And she was like, I am going to shoot you.
When I first saw the headline of this, my brain was like, wait, they're doing a gender reveal by shooting the pregnant woman with a paintball gun?
No. Just a coincidence.
That just all happened to be part of the context that led to a family man.
Somebody didn't want somebody to use a Polaroid camera. And that's
I am glad we supported local today.
I'm glad we did too, because there's some really good quotes in there. I just am missing the video piece that WWT ran at some point. I really, really need that. Really need that.
See if we can find it somewhere.
Those are the headlines. And yes, I am glad that we indeed supported local here. We'll take a break. 8:00 hour. Time for you to get in your opinions. I have an opinion. We have a few. We could always use more. 402-951-1620. That's the way to text into the show and tweet at Happer and Schaefer. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 8 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, the Zone Radio Network. Someone texted in to the 1620 The Zone text line and said this. Is this the 1620 The Zone text line?
Yes.
And the 1620 The Zone text line responded and said, yes, this is the 1620 The Zone text line. So it is the number that you call, 402-951-1620. So go ahead and send in your texts, your opinions. You can tweet them at us as well. You can email them to us. We have a few. Where should we start? Which mode would you like to start in, Schaefer?
I feel like we normally start Twitter, then we go text line, then we go StreamYard.
Okay.
I think that's normally our route. What if we reverse it? What if we went StreamYard first?
Oh,
or YouTube? I mean, I call it StreamYard.
all right. Let's go to YouTube. Here is Bada Bing 89. I have an opinion. They should change the DJ at Memorial Stadium. They played Click Click Boom 14 times in one game. They need to tone down the butt rock. LOL. What's butt rock?
I don't know. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Is that a mistype? LOL crying face emoji. Or is that some sort of...
So butt rock is a thing. It's 1990s to mid 2000s commercial hard rock and post grunge.
What's wrong? You don't like Click Click Boom?
It includes Nickelback and Creed. Shocker.
It's just a stinger. You know, it's just like the defense
Theory
is
of a
coming out
Dead
on the
Man,
field.
Seether,
Click,
Breaking Benjamin,
click, boom.
Puddle of Mud, Three Doors Down.
Yeah, he absolutely nailed it then. That is exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They play new music in the pregame when the players are warming up. They play old music during the game when they're trying to get the fans out of their seats.
I anticipate the Hawaiian song that they played to begin their stretching and warm-ups for every game will go away. This upcoming
The Hawaiian song.
Yeah, they had like this it was kind of like a Hawaiian I don't know. I had to I Shazammed it one day. I was down on the sidelines.
Okay.
Someone if anyone knows what I'm talking about, feel free. I don't remember that. I could probably look it up on.
Do you remember the Nola clap that they did when Frost was here?
No.
Oh man, they were really big on that. And then they would stop the music and then they would do their one perfect jumping jack and their two perfect jumping jacks. That whole routine was so funny to me. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You look like idiots.
It's called My Hawaii.
All right.
Featuring someone named Sean with a last name I can't pronounce.
Is it good vibes?
I mean, it worked for what they were going with. I just suspect that there's some changes that precipitated that.
You're looking at me like I'm supposed to say something.
No,
Look,
I don't know. You don't have to say anything. You don't know the song, so it's not like you could just know.
You're trying to reference something.
I'm just saying that there's less Raiolas on the roster.
Oh, there it is.
Less connection to Hawaii.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, probably not. Probably looking for a change.
Does Anthony Calandria get to pick the first warm-up song? Is that a thing? Is that a rite of passage?
Maybe that was just a Dylan thing.
Well, it does feel like it might have just been.
Maybe Dylan was literally the only person who cared.
Could also be true. We will not know the answers to such questions.
I don't think we will. Let's go to the text line here. I have many actually. Let's go to Pedro, a frequenter of I Have an Opinion. Hi guys, I have an opinion. Hotels should not be able to raise their room rates to double or triple their normal room rates for any reason. If they do that, then everything should be raised to the new rate. Example, $100 normal rate raised to $300. Then $7 hamburger is now raised to $21 for that hamburger. $6 beer is now raised to an $18 beer. Everything in that hotel is now tripled. I could see raising the rates a little bit, but they are ridiculous and they're price gouging. They are. They're taking advantage of all of this.
I don't disagree with any of this. So I don't know if the solution would be then they raise everything else.
Yeah, no,
that just seems like it's more expensive.
That would be counterintuitive.
What you're hoping for is that people just revolt because all of the prices are now high.
Like sometimes you look at a price for like a flight, and you could have two computers sitting next to each other at the same exact time and for the same exact flight, and they say two different prices.
Yeah,
they're just trying to see what they can get away with.
Basically,
that's all. Same thing with hotels. It's sad.
They're never working on your behalf. We'll put it that way.
But I do not want to triple the price of a hamburger if my room rate is already going to be tripled. That
Well,
seems
I
like
want
a
to
bad
triple the
idea.
price of a hamburger. I would go somewhere in Las Vegas.
Exactly. My room rate is already, well, I guess most of the time free.
Yeah, I know that's the thing.
Which is great.
But
And then
hey,
I pay all of
we
it
get
in
you
hamburgers.
here, and then we take all your money. That's basically what
They
it
do
is.
a great job of that.
They are consistently good at it.
Here is Christopher. I have an opinion. McMaster needs to learn how to pronounce words with a T in them. Every time he says Creighton and Equitable Bank, it drives me crazy. He really does throw in the T.
Okay.
He really hammers home.
Like
the
it's
T.
a hard T.
I believe he says Creighton sometimes.
Okay. So he's not pronouncing the T.
I've called him out on it before, and he says that he has like I don't know whether it's a lisp or like something where he
Sure.
he tells me that he is incapable.
So
of
how would
doing
he
so.
say big T?
That's a great question. The T stands alone.
The T does.
No,
The T stands alone.
the T stands alone. Here is John. Back to our story about the Polaroid camera and the woman. John says, I'm fine with not letting a child use a Polaroid camera. They don't know how to take a good picture. And do you know how expensive that film is these days? A great point.
Yeah, look, I don't think anyone was in the wrong for saying no, the child can't use the camera. It was clearly their camera. They can dictate who gets to
So
use it.
you have a problem when the gun came out?
I have a larger issue with the gun.
Yeah.
Of any of the issues I have.
But the reasoning behind why the gun came out is sound.
No, I don't think that you should. I have an opinion. If you disagree with someone letting your child use the camera, your first result of action shouldn't be to get a gun out.
Yeah, I agree.
It would maybe be like, hey, I'll watch the child while they use the camera so it's not wasteful.
Good opinion.
Something like that.
Good opinion. Text from the 402. I have an opinion. Mendoza was a great college quarterback that caught lightning in a bottle, but he's going to be a bust in the NFL, especially going to a poop franchise like the Raiders.
Okay. This is a stronger version of your opinion.
Yeah, it's much.
Yeah.
Much. Gus Mohawk. I have an opinion. Tom Osborne would have won 3+ national championships if he didn't retire at 60. Nick Saban won 4 national championships after turning 60. With Crouch coming in and the rest of that recruiting class, it would have been scary for college football.
I think they definitely would have won in 99. I mean, they might have won a national. If there was a playoff, they might have won a national championship in 99. They had the one loss, and it sort of prevented them from making the championship game. It's hard, though, because I would assume his recruiting classes would have outpaced what Frank ended up doing. So
I know.
the quality of player was dipping hard by 2001. It's hard to know how many he would have won. I think he would have continued to have sustained success, though. I do believe that because the team was still fairly good in 99 and then again in 2000 and 2001.
Yeah, I mean, those teams were certainly capable, all of them, of competing for a national championship
98 would have been
without
fascinating.
Osborne.
Right.
So,
Well, then you get the famous, like, what if they had Mac Brown?
Mac Brown.
Which allegedly is who was it Bill Byrne would have been interested in had he been allowed to make the decision.
That's right.
But he wasn't. And
He was
here we are.
not. And times are different now for a variety of different reasons. I have an opinion from the 402. Hamburger and hot dog buns should have a 4-pack option. As a household of only 2 people, we always end up throwing away so many buns. This is a good opinion.
I totally understand where this opinion comes from. We end up just finding other ways to utilize the buns. It sometimes becomes like, now I'm blanking on it. Like garlic bread. You split them in half. And
Good idea.
You get that.
See, I'm not that resourceful.
You can, if you have pizza sauce, you just sprinkle some pizza sauce on it and throw some cheese and pepperoni, and you have like a little
That's really good.
small little pizza out of it.
I'm not that resourceful.
I like coming up with things out of food that is not what the intended purpose of it. I actually have more enjoyment out of that. It's why I get so fired up about leftovers of smoked meats. It's not the literal eating of the sandwich the first couple days.
I generally like doing that as well.
It's, now I'm having pork tacos. Now it's, brisket mac and cheese.
Yep.
Like those sorts of things.
Right. Yeah. But I end up throwing away buns.
I
don't have any use for buns. I have
When-
use for meat. I don't have any use for buns.
When I was like on my own and I would like feel it was a waste to buy a loaf of bread. I always wanted like a half a loaf of bread. I would only buy half gallons of milk because it seemed like I would never use the full gallon of milk in the time in which it would go by.
Definitely.
There just needs to be a grocery store for people that are for single or two, like just a condensed version of all of these things. That way you don't feel like you're wasting as much.
Yeah.
I don't even need it to be less expensive. The bread was $1, but I don't like throwing away food. I
don't
hate
either.
throwing away food.
But it happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Happens all the time. Here's Randy. I have an opinion. If your license plate begins with a number, you don't know how to drive in the fast lane on I-80. Sincerely, Randy. Randy, this is correct.
What about the personalized license plates that begin with a number?
Those, well,
because he's talking
maybe
about
they do
he's
that
talking about
to-
people from
Yeah.
out of town.
have you ever thought about what if the people with personalized license plates are in part doing so because they're trying to mask the fact that they have a number next to they're not from 1 or 2
Could
county?
be. It could very well be an effort to basically be like, hey,
If you're
you
listening,
don't know where I'm from.
if you're listening on 97.7 The Zone this morning in Grand Island and your license plate has an 8 or a 14 or a what's Kearney?
This Kearney.
I have the county code saved as a bookmark on my computer.
Okay,
which
pull it up. Is
I am
Kearney
very, very proud
Kearney
of.
6?
So
Is Buffalo?
first of
Is
all,
that
we would have to
Buffalo County?
know. So Kearney is Buffalo County
Yeah.
9, Grand Island is Hall County 8, and Adams County Hastings is 14. So
Okay.
we got there. If you have any of those and you can drive in the left lane on the interstate without holding everybody up, please let us know. And we want to thank you personally for
Yeah.
fighting the good fight. It's and for the record, it's not just people who are from
No.
out of state or out state. I should
Every
say.
morning on my drive in, there's someone that's in the left lane going 50 miles an hour.
I would personally like
on
to
the
have a
Dodge
conversation
Expressway.
with everyone who ever drives on Maple Street. For whatever reason, nobody is capable of going to the speed limit on that road.
Yeah, that's not a great.
It's a road. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. The speed limit is 45 when it should be 55 anyway. And people, for whatever reason, decide to go 35. I don't understand.
I really try to avoid ever having to go
Don't go on Maple.
east-west on Maple.
Don't go on Maple.
Like
ever.
I'll dip in and out where I need to be in my sections of it, but otherwise I'm just trying to avoid it.
Agreed. Get to Dodge as fast as you possibly can. Another opinion on how McMaster says words.
Okay.
Let me know if this is valid or not. I haven't noticed this one. Zeke says I have an opinion on McMaster. He needs to learn how to say anything else instead of saying anything else. There is no G in front of else.
He slurs it together.
Yeah, right. Anything else. I see. I could see how that would be the case. I never heard Matt in particular do it. People get triggered at the way I say some things as well.
Oh yeah.
They get mad at the way I say Clemson.
Clemson.
I don't know. That's the way I say it.
Jack
Clemson.
Mitchell would lose his mind over how I would say jump around or like
You put the emphasis in the wrong place.
and he was just like, why are you saying it like that? And I was like, you mean jump around? He would just get more and
That is
more
sort of
upset.
triggering.
And I was like, I don't understand what I'm doing when I say jump around. And he's just like, stop doing it like that. And I couldn't.
I
It's
agree
just
with
how
Jack.
I say it.
Text from the 402. I'm finna have an opinion. Steve Sipple should have his own TV show following him through day-to-day activities. I would definitely check in on the Sipple cam from time to time.
Sip TV would be watched.
There's
no question.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. Ryan in Delaware, I have an opinion. There should be less people from Iowa who work in this city.
That's going to be tough because you border the state.
There's a lot of Omahans from Iowa as well.
Just a lot of Iowans in Omaha.
A lot of Iowans in Omaha. Jesse says, I have an opinion. 370 is becoming the new Maple Street. I have noticed that there are lights going up on that street all the time.
370.
It used to be a very wide open highway where
don't-
you could just get from Bellevue to Papillion in a heartbeat. Not anymore. Not anymore. There's too many lights now. It starts, so you put the businesses on the road, you put the fast food restaurants and the scooters, coffees.
Then people want to be able to get on safely.
And then you got to put lights on there. And all of a sudden, when the lights come up, the lights aren't timed together, and everybody's driving through the wrong place.
What are the worst? Give me the Mount Rushmore of worst streets to drive in the metro area. Because 204th has to be on there.
Oh, 204th is absolutely on there.
It might be the George Washington.
204th from really start to finish.
Yeah.
It
No part of 204th goes well.
No.
Except maybe Maple to State isn't bad because nothing is there yet, but it will be terrible.
Yeah, I don't even care about any
in
of that
time
part.
to come. Yeah.
Maple is horrific. Just terrible, terrible street.
Yep. I'm
really from start to finish. And by finish, I mean like 204th Street probably is the finish. And then the start is wherever you want the start to be. It doesn't. Maple only really exists as a major throughway after Benson. And it is at that exact moment where it turns into a disaster.
And doesn't stop being a disaster all the way to 204th.
Uh-huh.
Even the 180th to 204th stretch.
I always feel like when we have these conversations, we have too much North Side representation. Like I gotta hear it from you all because I don't know. Like, is there any street that is south of Pacific or Center that is really tricky or difficult to mess with? I don't like it when they close Interstate 480 downtown because they have to build new streetcar bridges. I don't like it when that happens. It's happened twice now over the last year. I don't like when they close all of downtown.
Would be nominated at the moment.
I don't like it when they close all of downtown. They definitely close all of downtown, which is happening at the moment. By the way, a text from the 773. I'm on the interstate right now heading to Lincoln, and there are 4 slow pokes in the left lane.
Yeah, they live there.
Not particularly surprising. Let's go to Twitter. I got a couple there. Here's Sam. I have another opinion. The public demands this segment where Connor and Mike Schaefer talk lacrosse to us, giving us their uninformed takes on the Big Ten's most televised sport. And he even attached the graphic along with it. It is our new podcast or show is called Relaxin' with the Boys. And it's us on a couch with skinny jeans watching lacrosse.
Amazing.
This is a great graphic.
Let's see how much lacrosse is in store for the weekend.
What's going on in Lax, bro?
Looks like we've got mostly just spring football games. We got women's lacrosse Big Ten semifinal. TBD. That'll be 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow.
What do you think?
We get Northwestern Michigan tomorrow afternoon.
It's got to be Michigan.
So you got that.
Probably RPI chasing.
Over the weekend, we get more lacrosse on the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's no baseball. It's just lacrosse. I mean, luckily, it's the best sport in the Big Ten, and it is the most televised sport. And we are grateful for our Big Ten overlords, including but not limited to Tony Petiti for putting this on television every week. Thank you, Tone.
MPSF Men's Volleyball Championship is on Big Ten Network Saturday night.
Live, like a live broadcast.
It says live, yeah.
Dear God, where do they find these things?
This is.
I actually think sometimes they're going out of their way to not broadcast baseball.
We get some softball on Saturday. There's no baseball yet. There hasn't been a single baseball game for the weekend, and then we'll get to Sunday.
Taking a week off.
They'll maybe include a baseball game.
Here's
lacrosse Big Ten championships.
Here's Ray. I have an opinion. Local weather people using scare tactics 2, 3, or 7 days in advance of possible severe weather is dumb, especially when nothing happens because weather can change by the hour. Quit making everyone live in fear for several days for clicks. Look, you must inform as the weatherman. You must inform.
I think you gotta walk the line between people need to know about this and also acknowledging it's fluid.
Also, people have to, Ray, you got to take some responsibility. You know, if you don't care, then just ignore it. If you're one of the people who says the storm comes when the storm comes, and if it takes me, it takes me, then fine. You could live your life that way. Some people don't like to live their lives that way.
See, my annoyance is more in the moment when I'm watching something on over the air and you lose most of your screen to Clay County having some sort of weather issue.
Yeah, it's always in a very remote place.
And it's like, okay,
Not near here.
I'm hopeful for the people of Clay County, but can we get back to this?
The viewing area is quite large.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Here's Mark. I have an opinion. Iowa fans lack the ability to simply wear an Iowa hat or t-shirt. Apparently, it's required to wear an Iowa hat, t-shirt, shorts, and shoes, all sporting the Hawkeye logo. We get it. You're an Iowa fan. P.S. You look like an idiot. There was a guy at the Creighton Omaha baseball game last night wearing an Iowa hat and t-shirt. Maybe that's the guy Mark is referencing.
There was a guy when I was in Oklahoma City, and Nebraska has taken over the entire place, just standing out wearing head to toe Iowa stuff. So this is exactly who Mark is referencing.
This is an interesting opinion. A couple follow-ups on the roads that are bad south of Dodge or south of Center. Center is pretty bad from 72nd to 180th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Sam has an idea for guy in a numbers county. He says guy in a numbers county that gets a custom plate that's the normal Nebraska plate sequence. Like guy in like county 86 is sitting there like, I'm gonna get one that says RWC 982
BCB 324.
What a great idea.
I actually think that's
but then you drive around your own hometown and you look like a city slicker.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a city slicker, not in your own hometown.
What's Carl doing with those plates?
Right. But then you come to Omaha and you're driving the wrong way in a one way, and people are like, that's all right. That's just Carl. He's one of us.
No.
He's fine. But if you have an 86 county plate and you're doing that, you're in big trouble.
Did you ever see
they will remove you?
Did you ever see the movie Nebraska by Alexander Payne?
I never did.
I can't think of the name of the famous actor whose first name starts with Bruce, but it's this old guy and he's just driving this truck. And I'm now imagining if Bruce had done that, how angry his neighbors would have been.
Mm.
Like they would have just felt betrayed that he would have turned in his northern Nebraska county plates for a personalized plate that
try to make him look like a city slicker. Yeah.
I can't think of his actor's name. It's going to drive me nuts.
Here's John in the Equitable Bank inbox. I have an opinion. If you are so lazy and out of shape that you have to lean on your shopping cart and use it like a walker, you should be using a delivery service so you are not in my way when I am trying to shop.
Support this opinion entirely.
People do be stopping in the grocery stores. What's up with the people stopping in the grocery store?
There are people who absolutely need the scooters to be able to for mobility in their life. Usually the people using them I see at stores do not need them as much as the people that actually need them.
I always wanted to use one when I was a kid, but I never got the guts to do it.
I'm glad that you didn't.
I never did. And now I walk around the grocery store and rarely stop unless I really got to sort something out in the aisle. I'm definitely not leaning on the cart. That's for sure. By the way, Dan texted us. Sorry to ask you, Dan, but Dan texted us. Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern. Yep. That's exactly who it is.
Somebody's going to call you right now, Jake, and they're going to say Bruce Dern.
It's a very well-known. Bruce Dern is a very well-known actor, and I could not come up. I could see the face. I could not come up with the last name.
One more from Pedro. Hi, guys. I have another opinion. I saw an older woman swinging on a swing set by herself. No kids around her. She was just enjoying the playground. There should be an adult playground so you can go on the equipment and not be labeled a creeper. I would like to go on a swing set, but society has deemed it wrong. I am old. That's true. You really do need a kid to go on a swing set.
Would Quiet Vegas allow for this?
An adult swing set?
Yeah.
Well,
it'd be kind of noisy.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried about the things that would happen on the swing set.
Yeah, you don't want it to turn into an unquiet situation.
Exactly. All right, we have time for one phone call opinion. Very brief. Here is Adam on the hotline here. Hey, Adam, what's up?
Hey, guys. Love your show. I just want to throw out, when it starts getting nice out and you see people drive around and their windows are still up, oh, man, that grinds my gears. Like, let go of the AC. Enjoy the wind. Enjoy the weather.
But what if you're going if you're going 60 miles an hour and you don't want to deal with the blowing?
Oh, I get that down the interstate, but I mean, if you're driving 25 down, Dodge or, whatever street, I mean, you're not driving 25 down Dodge, but I mean,
hopefully
still.
Not. I agree.
I mean, why?
I agree, Adam.
Right, guys,
thank
you for the call.
I get his point.
I had my windows down on when I wasn't on the freeway, when I wasn't on the highway yesterday. Just
did it feel good?
I felt excellent.
Oh, yeah, yesterday was a great day to have the windows Not
It was great.
yesterday. Tuesday.
Tuesday
was
would definitely
great.
was as
Yeah.
well. Roll them down, baby.
Yesterday, you might have had debris just end up in your car.
It's funny that Adam just goes around and he gets triggered at people not having their windows down. Though. I never heard that before.
I haven't either.
It's not really something that I think about.
I'm more likely to have like the sunroof open or something than I am just like my windows.
I don't have a sunroof anymore.
Did you ever use it when you had one?
Like probably 6 to 8 times, but
Total?
it was great those
Yeah.
6 to 8 times.
I really like it. It's like a completely unnecessary thing in a car that I actually enjoy.
Let's take a break. Thank you for your opinions. We very much appreciate them. Brian Christopherson's up next on 1620 The Zone. Joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. BC, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Are you excited for the draft tonight?
I have not been bouncing off walls about it, but by the time we're within a half hour of it, I'll be ready for it. It's usually good theater.
Within a half hour of it starting, or within a half hour of the Vikings pick, which is vastly different?
With it starting,
Okay.
yeah, I always I think it's kind of a male soap opera.
Definitely.
It's got all the stuff, the twists and turns. Usually in those first 5 to 7 picks, there's something oddball that happens, and so it's worth having on at least in the background.
Do you have a player you'd like to plant your flag with? Someone that you believe in that's in this draft class?
No, I don't, Schaefer. I know that there's a lot of mixed opinions. I even heard you guys on the way in. I was driving to Omaha with Mendoza. He's actually as interesting as anybody to me because I have no idea what to make of him. Like I like his makeup and the type of kid he is, and I could see him being that type of winner, like that elevates a team at the next level. And then I forget which one of you was on the minus side with him. I think he's one of those guys where just as easily you could be like, I don't know though. It kind of felt like a 1-year deal where everything kind of aligned for him. And so I am really curious what type of career he has, because that could go either way for sure.
It's been light on the draft front for Nebraska, and I feel like we ask this question very commonly, like in the days before the draft, and I think when you start off next week as well after the draft is sort of concluded, guys that might be on the radar for next year or 2 years down the line, and it always seems like, BC, that there's like a guy or two that you could pinpoint for next year, and then you look at the class 2 years ahead and you're like, oh, there's probably a handful. And then still, it's been pretty consistently either 1 or 2 players getting drafted for Nebraska over the last handful of years. How do they
Yeah.
how do they sort of break this cycle that they're in right now as far as draftees?
Yeah, you nailed the annual tradition around here. That's exactly how it goes. There's always the 2-year look ahead. That's like, oh yeah, but in 2 years that could be like where there's 4 or 5, and sort of thing. And I wrote a thing the other day going through the last 20 years basically of the Husker draft, and within the last 10 drafts, only one time has Nebraska had 3 or more. And I've been doing it long enough. I do remember it was like you'd have to check me on the year, but it was like 2011 or one of those years during the Pelini era where there was like 7 guys who got picked. And sort of early on in the Pelini era you were still getting that like 3 to 4 to 5. And so who can turn it next year? I don't know if they will or not. Like you'd love Elijah Pritchett to set the tone with just a great senior season. I think he has momentum from last year. He's got all the traits. He's got that look of a guy who people are going to kind of fawn over. And, he could get you back in that like first round conversation if he has a really good year. There's just some ifs he has to answer, but he has that capability. I do think there's some guys on the back end this year. I don't know. We'll see what McDougal does. Like the who's new here from San Diego State. Like he could be an interesting player. Andrew Marshall, I think, could be an interesting player that has pro capabilities. So they might be able to get to 3 or 4 next year. But I'm a little worried about this draft after Emmett, and if and how much company he's going to have. I could see obviously Singleton going late. I don't know about Sierra Wright. Don't know about Latovsky. I think some guys are going to get good free agent opportunities. But unfortunately, the way it's gone, I think Nebraska's kind of lost the benefit of the doubt too. Like I feel like early, 25 years ago, if there was a guy kind of on the fence, I think like pro scouts and personnel used to kind of side with like, they come from this program. We're going to buy stock in them. And some guys who maybe wouldn't get drafted now got drafted late back then. And that doesn't happen anymore.
Brian, you listened in to what Matt Rule had to say when he was on with Herdat earlier this week? Anything stand out to you from that conversation? Any kind of big takeaways you have from Matt Rule's sort of hour-long, wide-ranging conversation earlier this week?
Yeah, I thought, the part that's still a little galling is, and you can tell it drives him nuts too, as it should, is that Minnesota game from last year. And I know we're moving forward, and I like to push it ahead too. But you got to learn from that. And he said this quote on there, and he said it a few times about how in that locker room there were guys like who expected to win by 50 or whatever, or like basically like, this is a game, it's our game, we're going to beat these guys sort of feeling. And that thing still boggles my mind, the way Minnesota has kind of played and actually kind of owned Nebraska, that guys sort of had that mentality going into that game. And so I don't know what it's going to take to shake that. Hopefully, the players they have now, who are some are in their third, fourth year in the program, mixed with guys like I think are going to be good for the culture, like an Owen Chambliss, like Anthony Jones, can sort of redirect whatever that sort of mindset was that accompanied that team to Minneapolis, because that still remains one of the more just annoying Husker performances I've seen recently. And it seems like Rule feels the same way at bringing it up. I do like the fact with that he pointed out, because this is a big part of it too. Like the week before against Maryland, they twice had double-digit leads, and they blew those leads, and it ends up being a game Nebraska wins, but it's kind of an emotional, draining type game. And whatever it's going to take, and you talk about the draft conversation. This is another thing with Husker football. We've been on the couch for a decade. How does Nebraska get that step on your throat sort of mentality in this, like that Maryland game where you win by 14 kind of going away, and it pushes you into what comes next. That's going to be interesting if what they're doing behind the scenes and the particular players can cultivate that type of culture.
Yeah, not that this was just a Dylan Raiola problem, because like you said, BC, it existed, long before Dylan got here. But can that type of thing change with a change at quarterback and the mentality and the playing style that Calandria brings to the table, like help address that very issue of not being able to close games out or not being prepared in a variety of different ways? Like, I wonder how much that affects that.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know if it will or not, but it's an interesting thing to ponder, because Calandria, at least the book on him, he's going to be an attacking guy, and your feeling is they're sort of not going to let off the foot off the pedal when maybe even you're up by 10 or whatever. And I'm not saying they were necessarily doing that in the Maryland game last year. I think it was a variety of things that contributed to that game ending up going to the wire. Part of it was they didn't play very good defense for much of it. But yeah, I do think Calandria has brought, and this isn't just from guys at the podium. This is what I've heard kind of checking around on it. He's well liked, and like that, like
Yep.
I feel like he's fit in very fast with the guys, and it's not forced. And I don't want to get in the last couple of years as much because different guys feel different ways about a person. Like some guys might really like a guy, some might not care for him as much. But I get the sense that Anthony Calandria, the talk you've heard about him fitting in and sort of there being a chemistry with the other guys on the team, is actually a real thing. And so that's a positive place to start. That doesn't guarantee anything, but I think he did a really good job of coming in and just wanting to get to know everybody, but also not just, elbows out, pushing his way into that leadership role, but having it happen sort of just naturally. And so that's been effective for him over there. And maybe that does help him in some of these games. That chemistry can matter when you get to the fall.
Hey, real quickly on this one, and I saw this kind of come up as Matt Rule talked about it, and you wrote about it as well. Jamar Mosey, for someone who's not an on-field coach, seems to have a pretty important role for Nebraska football. That's kind of the takeaway that you've come to after 2 years with him involved?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been kind of a quiet storyline this offseason. He's the assistant head coach now over there, and Rule mentioned him on the show the other day. You know, he's got big roles as far as like just the academic stuff with guys, but I think he's sort of well respected as like a secondary. He's not the head coach, but like he's been that in high school, and players really respond to him that way. I mentioned in my story yesterday because I wrote about Jamar Mosey last year, and Rule would have guys on his staff get up and give like a speech, or kind of a talk to the team sometimes. And Mosey's talk to the team was one of the best that people have heard. That's not just Rule. I heard that from someone else. Like, it really had guys captivated. So he's got a way about him. And I remember media days a few years ago when he was first getting hired. Rule said the first time I met him as a high school coach, I'm like, I want that guy on my staff. And he's done nothing but elevate since, and it doesn't surprise me. It's also why I don't bet against his son, because I think Isaiah Mosey, doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. And I think he's got sort of those traits and sort of that willingness to push himself to be great. So that can only help him in the running back conversation.
BC, great stuff as always. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Check out all his stuff there, including the MASH. Not the Monster Mash. The MASH.
No, you can listen to the Monster Mash while reading the Mash.
Now, that would be an experience. We would encourage you to do
It'd be a graveyard smash.
It'd be a graveyard smash. We'll round out the hour with another update to Vrabel Rossini Gate on 1620 The Zone. Now, far be it from the upstanding franchise of the New England Patriots to try and sneak something by us or hide something or think they're coming up with a fun, creative PR strategy to divert attention from something. But did you see this? Did you hear about this? Last night after midnight, I don't think you still know about this to this moment. Last night after midnight, the Patriots, along with Mike Vrabel, announced that Vrabel will not be with the team for the third day of the NFL draft on Saturday because he is going to counseling. He is going to seek help. He's going to seek counseling starting on Saturday. He is missing the third day of the NFL draft, which most of the draft picks happen during, to go to counseling.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday.
Like, why wouldn't they just wait until Monday?
This story gets stupider and stupider by the second.
This doesn't even make sense.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. And they announced this after midnight last night. This was 2 days after Vrabel had the disastrous word salad of, I've made many mistakes in my life, but this is not, I don't know what he said. It was a nightmare. And now he's going to counseling on the third day of the draft.
There's like a part of me that wonders if this is going even worse than I thought it was.
I think
we're
trending
I don't want
that
to make
direction.
light of it. And it's a weird situation where it seems like an affair by all accounts.
It does.
So it's not.
Did you see that there was additional pictures that came out last night? So we're getting very, very close. They were grainy and like from far away.
Oh, no.
So somebody was spying on them the entire time. And my guess would be the New York Post is just sitting on something else. They have more information.
Well, the Post gave those two multiple opportunities to come clean themselves, and they chose not to. Did you read any of the ESPN reporting on any of this?
On the whole situation?
Rossini engaged with communication specialists for crisis
I did see that. Yeah. Crisis alert.
It's embarrassing how all of this has been handled by alleged professionals.
But
all the way around.
What we've been missing is a denial of guilt from any of the sides, which I think tells you probably a lot of the story. Vrabel said
Rossini denied everything in her tweet.
No, she said it doesn't have the proper context or something like that. She denied it without actually denying it.
Yeah,
because you can't deny it. It's a photograph of them interlocking fingers.
She didn't
it's
deny
the interlocking fingers.
She didn't deny the interlocking fingers. She denied that there was more to this story than
there's technicality.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on her side of the PR thing here.
Vrabel said in a statement late last night, after midnight, as I said the other day, I promised my family, this organization, and this team that I was going to give them the best version of me that I could possibly give them. In order to do so, I have committed to seeking counseling starting this weekend. This is something that I have given a lot of thought to and is something I would advise a player to do if I was counseling them. I've always wanted to lead by example, and I believe this is what I have to do to be the best husband, father, and coach that I could possibly be. This is not an easy thing for me to admit, but it is one that I know that will make me a better person. I appreciate the support that everyone has given me and promise a stronger resolve as a result. He's going to marriage counseling? What kind of counseling?
We don't even know if it's marriage counseling. It could just be counseling.
What is counseling?
Well,
he says he wants to be a better husband, father, and coach. Is he going to coach counseling?
It could be coach counseling.
He doesn't need that. He just
Maybe
went to the
he's
Super
going
Bowl.
to a life coach and he's calling it counseling.
Maybe
he's just going to another crisis management person and they're calling that counseling.
Maybe.
So this whole thing has been way more weird than it needs to be. Because the direct parties involved have been more weird about it than they needed to be.
Vrabel said he has had some difficult conversations with people I care about. That was in the statement from the other day. And Vrabel called those conversations, quote, positive and productive. We believe in order to be successful on and off the field, you have to make good decisions. That includes me. That all starts with me.
What in the world?
Thank you, Mike Vrabel, and we wish you good luck in your endeavors.
He points the thumb.
He does. He points the thumb.
Yeah.
And if you got to do counseling, do it on a Saturday.
During the draft.
He gets out of going to Home Depot. He gets to go to counseling.
Are you choosing counseling over Home Depot?
No, I would rather go to Home Depot
Well,
a million times over.
The way you phrased it sure sounded the opposite.
That's true. Let's take a break. We'll come back 9 o'clock hour up on the other side on 1620 The Zone. Couple texts on old Vrabes here. Happer's Beam guy writes in, needs horny counseling to save his family, but can wait until day 3 of the draft. John writes in, coach counseling, can we send Rule?
No comment.
And then another text that is a little bit graphic from Ryan in Delaware that we'll just leave alone. So there you go. A lot of opportunities for joking about the old Vrabel. I'm just joking. That's what they're saying right now. I think you should leave. I'm just joking.
Oh, it probably is.
I'm just joking. You never seen that?
I would know.
Oh, that's right. You hate that show.
I'm not a Tim Robinson guy.
Tim Robinson guy. All right. We came up with a new game. It's more fun than any Tim Robinson game that could ever be played. It's called Hire, Fire, or Retire. We are going to predict the futures of at least a couple sitting college football coaches. And really, we decided earlier that there's really only 3 certain ways you can go. You can get hired by another organization, you could get fired, or you could quit because you're old.
So basically, how does your time with your current college program end?
Now, there are subcategories inside of each of these categories, like NFL, other jobs,
you to explore.
Running from the posse, like all these different things. But generally, they all fall in the 3.
Yeah.
So let's test this out. And by the way, this could be an ongoing game whenever we decide to, for it basically in perpetuity.
Hire, fire, retire.
Hire, fire, retire. I'm excited.
All right. So I got 5 coaches here. We'll see if we get to all of them. I kind of, as I often do, have different categories I'm trying to hit here. You've got one.
You're good at coming up with names.
You've got one who signed an extension here this past offseason, Kalani Sitake. What do you think happens there?
Good. Okay. Am I allowed to pull up the
You do as much
file,
research as you need
the
to.
Sitake file?
Yeah, this is and I'll talk while you're researching. This is a guy that would have been high on the Mike Schaefer list in 2022 when Scott Frost was moved on from. As I thought this was a guy who fits in a lot of ways the style of football fans around here want. I know there'd be questions as to how it would work away from BYU because there's just a big difference.
Agreed.
There. I just think he's a hell of a football coach. And so, and you give him, and BYU has resources.
Who did he almost get hired by this year?
He was mentioned in the Penn State job.
That's right. He was like the 9th name that they happened to
and it was like, that doesn't fit at all, or didn't, to me, fit at all. But we saw Bronco Mendenhall leave randomly for Virginia because BYU just wasn't putting their resources in football in the way that he wanted. Post Mendenhall, they put more resources into it.
Here is the Sitake file.
The Sitake file.
So been at BYU since 2016, and now been a member of the Big 12 Conference for the last 3 years. His first year in the Big 12, they went 5-7, and then the last 2 years they've won 11 or 12 games.
Yeah,
and nearly made the playoff last year. Didn't do so. It ended up being pretty good, really after 2020.
Yeah.
And so 2020, 11-1, 2021, 10-3, and 2022, 8-5 before they moved to the Big 12, went 5-7, and then 11-2 and 12-2. Like he was a pretty hot name that popped up a little bit this offseason. But there are some extenuating circumstances with him. Like you said, there's the BYU of it all. He is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are some confusing factors in here. I am going to say fired.
All right.
Yes.
You don't think there's a chance that he ends up retiring there?
That just seems like a long way down the road.
He's not an old guy.
He's 50.
Yeah.
You think he'll be there for another 15 years?
I don't think he retires there either because I think he's going to get hired by somebody else.
Okay, so you're a hire.
I'm a hired. Now, is it going to be significantly better than BYU? Debatable. But I think there's a move that happens somewhere in there. I just think he's a really good coach. And some college program is going to be like, all right, we're going to make this happen.
I'm going off the general thesis that I've always had, which is you either, that I have and that Batman.
I knew what you were going to say. And I like the idea that it's the Connor Happer thesis and definitely not a quote from
Batman.
Yeah, the Dark Knight.
You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I think it ends up in the latter.
So Taki's going to be a villain?
I think he gets fired.
Yeah.
I'm firing him. Maybe, I don't know.
How many years has he been
Should we
there?
put a time frame on it?
Yeah, well,
He's been there since 16.
We had originally said no time frame, but I think it's if you have a time and where you think he's
a nebulous sort of zone.
Is it what 10 years already? Then
I'm gonna say, yeah, this was his 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was his 10th season last year. I'm gonna say fired within 5 years.
So he won't get to a 16th season.
No.
With BYU.
Yep.
I think in 5 years he's at another program, and I think it's a good. I think you would view it as a
Alabama
step up in a job. Well, probably not. But,
not that one. Not that one.
Something like that, but not that.
Not that in particular. All right.
Not that.
All right. Who's up next?
All right. So we go from a coach that, like I said, I have different categories as I invented this in my brain, but we go from one who's been around for 10 years to one who's starting his career out first year as a head coach.
Oh,
Tosh Lapoy.
Good one. He's been a hot name for a while.
He is having, as one would know if they ever followed recruiting, Tosh Lapoy, very good recruiter. Cal recruiting well.
So I kind of thought he was going to be a rising star for a while. He was the hot name on Saban's staff for a long, long time. Co-DC in 18.
Have you looked at his run of where he's been?
Yeah.
He's coached with some dudes.
He definitely has. He took an NFL job though.
Mhm.
And so once you leave the college space.
Well, you know why he took the NFL job. He couldn't coach in college. He had recruiting things that he had basically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The NCAA is like, you can't be here anymore.
You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, so he went to the NFL for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years.
A 5-year show.
Cleveland, Atlanta, Jacksonville. Comes back, gets hired as Oregon's DC linebackers coach 2022, is there for 4 years, and then now is the new head coach at Cal. That's a tough one because it's a real shot in the dark. Hire, fire, retire.
Yeah. It could be any of them. But, it could be any of two. It's not going to be. He's not going to retire.
Yeah, right.
I think he'd get hired by somebody else.
I think it's probably fire.
I think he replaces Dan Lanning when Oregon fires Dan
Whoa,
Lanning.
I love it. Pick it out.
That's
very specific.
My shot very early.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that you chose him then. That was like the one time where you asked me about Carter Nelson, and I knew that you were going to ask me about Carter Nelson. You wanted to say something about Tosh Lapoy. I get it.
Not necessarily, but I wanted to say something about Dan Lanning without actually choosing Dan Lanning.
He's always been in not always, but for the last 10 or so years, he's been in the kind of sphere, Lapoy has.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska's gone up against him for recruiting, as you would know. And he's sort of just been a name that's been out there. But I don't know. I guess we don't know how it's going to work out from a head coaching perspective. I have my doubts. It's Cal.
It is Cal. It's a tough job. I think he's going to recruit really well there, and I think he'll do well enough to Justin Wilcox had opportunities to go somewhere else and then just stayed long enough to become the villain. So,
yep. I'm going fire
okay.
within 6 years.
I'm going higher to another program within 3 years.
Look at that. Quick out.
All right. Do we want to do another?
Yeah, I think we probably got one or two more.
All right.
Yeah.
He was just in a national championship game where he lost to Kurt Signetti, Mario Cristobal. Could he be the toast of town at Miami for a long time? There's no other job that he would take. I'll put it that way. So I think you're down to two options here.
Not an NFL guy.
I don't think he's an NFL guy. I don't think I don't think there's another college job he'd rather have than, Miami. That means the world to him.
No, I mean, it certainly doesn't seem like it right now. I mean, he's got everything he could.
Right.
He's got everything he want. And it's not like if they go 7-5 next year, he's going to get fired.
I think he's earned a ton of goodwill.
Yeah.
Not that he can't, exhaust that by the end of it, but
I still don't know how good he is.
So, how we talk about in-game coaching and coaches, he's a terrible in-game coach.
Yeah.
I think he has an awful feel for situations and what his team is doing. He has amassed so much talent that he can overcome his own bad coaching.
Yep.
It's incredible, really.
It frankly is. I mean, they went to the national championship game.
But then you look at the team, you're like, oh, that's why they went to the national championship.
Like, and they were matching up, you know, in the pregame to that, they were matching up Cristobal and Signetti, and I'm like, what? This is not even remotely close.
This is a coaching mismatch.
Yeah.
But
Tail
at
of the tape,
same time,
Signetti, check.
what Cristobal has done is he's built his teams on offensive line play as a former offensive line coach and outstanding defense. And so then the rest of it is we're awash with great athletes in the Miami area. We'll pluck out 8 of them. 3 of them will become stars, and we'll figure out the rest.
Could you make an argument for retire?
I would think more likely that than I just think they're going to be good for a long time.
I think I'm slightly more likely to go fire than retire, just
fired
because
is more likely. I think because it's
just the volatility of the job. And
but I'll go retired because of the list. This is the guy that I think retires at this spot.
And I don't like we said. What other job is there that he would bolt for? Probably none. Now, this could be a run from the posse guy.
Okay.
This could be I think I'm going to get fired, so I took the job at FAU instead, you know, or took the job at
I don't know if it is happy FAU.
It wouldn't be that low probably, but like, you know, some lower level
UCF. He's like, I'm going to go to the Big 12.
Yeah,
now.
some Big 12 job.
Not that there's a coach there that's about to lose his job anytime soon.
He should be on this game.
Well, at some point he will be.
Guess we'll probably do all.
And it's going to be retired. Because he can have dinner and no one knows him.
That's true. He could go to Disney World and have fun. He could do whatever it is he wants. Go to Publix without anyone bothering him.
Run with the bulls.
Hi, Mr. Frost.
He can visit the beaches and no one knows who he is.
Let's go. I'll go out of the box.
Retired.
I will go with hire, parentheses, escaped before fire.
All right. Beat the posse.
Yeah. What do you like? What do you think that's
I
good?
like it. I mean, I like that you're going unconventional with it because I just don't see him at another college job in my head right now.
Yeah.
So, but I like how you're getting there. So I'm good with it.
All right, let's go one more.
All right, we got one more. I got 2 names here. You can pick 1 or 2. Just pick a number.
2.
2. You're getting Lane Kiffin.
Definitely fired, right?
Yeah.
Definitely fired.
Well, it's either fired or beats the posse. He's not retiring there.
No.
And he's definitely not going to be done coaching whenever it ends at LSU. But LSU almost always fires their coaches unless they get hired for another job. In the case of Saban,
it's
going
just
to the
Saban,
NFL.
yeah.
Kiffin's not going back to the NFL.
No.
But I fully expect him to be at a different SEC school at some point.
So is there a world where this is a total disaster?
100%, yeah.
Or are they going to be too good from a talent perspective to
I think
not have that be a possibility?
Really good from the talent perspective and still run into a wall of never winning enough to satisfy people there. I think he's a really good coach. I do. They're going to be a good program. But I thought Brian Kelly was a really good coach. It's sort of a terrible fit.
So, but what he did at Ole Miss and what he did at FAU was, I mean, he maximized, right?
Yeah.
So I give him credit for that. And so in theory, you port that over to
now
the next
maybe
place.
One of the 3 most talent-rich schools in the country.
Exactly. And so I think to me that math ends up being fire.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work out, it's not only, we're just going to go 9-4 for a few years and then I'll, run. I think it's going to be we're going to flame out disaster with a couple really talented teams.
Here's also why it could be fired. You have to leave at least a 10% possibility of scandal.
100%.
So, that's certainly in there.
There's a 10% chance of 100% chance of
all
scandal.
The coaches of scandal. Kivens has to be at or near the highest of all of the coaches.
Definitely. Although we have talked about some interesting figures as far as scandal is concerned.
Sure.
With
I wouldn't have thought Vrabel would be high on the scandal list.
Tosh Lapoy and Mario Cristobal at Miami, you could see that.
I looked, there was never any actual NCAA show cause. I think it was just heavily rumored it would be the best.
Stay away.
If you disappeared for a bit.
Okay.
So
I'm going to say fire.
Okay, I agree.
That's
I'm
it's
with
pretty.
Mike.
It's that one's actually pretty.
I don't think he
easy.
wins a national championship at LSU either.
Yeah. I don't know. He hasn't. He did a lot for the image rehab at the end there, and then threw it all away with how he left. And now the stuff that I've seen from him at LSU is pretty questionable. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I was all in on Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And part of it is I don't really care for LSU in the same way that you do. I think.
I do have quite the reverence for LSU.
Was one of our first shows, like it came out that they were the cool program.
They are,
you.
yeah.
And I hadn't regarded it in that way, but yeah, I would be okay if they don't have success.
Yeah, I think I would be as well. All right, we'll take a break. Max Olson is our guest. Maybe we'll ask him some
hire,
fire, retire.
Max would love this game.
All right,
though I don't know how open he wants to be about things.
We'll give him a couple. We'll give him one or two good ones when we come back on 1620 The Zone. All right, Max Olson is pulled in Iowa football and punted for today. That's all right. We'll catch up with him next week. We were, though, excited to ask him a couple higher fire retires. We'll just have to, number one, remember that this bid exists, and number two, actually execute it.
Do we put it on the sheet so that way we remember it?
I think I did put it on the sheet. So
it's on there.
It's on
along
there.
with tomorrow's City of the Day, which will be revealed at 6:45.
And another topic that we're going to hit tomorrow, amongst the things that we were capable of forgetting about, blame pie charts, of which you have texted Jake Sorensen to come up with the blame pie chart for the Royals, and he is at least aware of it and potentially prepared.
Just to let people know, when we get into football season on Mondays, we will have a pie chart of either it went well for Nebraska and
whose fault was it?
Who helped this go well.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
The blame pie chart.
Yeah.
The pie chart of
this
blame.
Is a great one, David.
It's going to be awesome.
Because it's so definitive. It's never that easy.
No, but we're going to make it seem very black and white. And I can already imagine Joey's graphic will be us with like
pies,
like the baker's things on and the hat and
definitely
pies.
We're going to be serving up pies.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Absolutely. Well, we're not going to do Curt Cignetti, hire, fire, retire, but I did have to think about it a lot. I suppose we can do it. Hire, fire, retire, Curt Cignetti.
It's got to be retire, right?
Yeah. I think that'd be actually the most likely. He's older.
He is older, so there's less lead time. I don't see how Indiana just doesn't give him everything he ever wants from a financial or resource perspective.
What if he gets sick of it? And because we know, we're about to learn more. He's a true sicko. He's a real sicko. And so what if he doesn't find it challenging anymore to what if
fix something? What if he thinks the challenge is how does he not how can he leave Indiana as the undisputed, king of college football? I think the big thing now is the Curt Cignetti is make it so it's not a 1 or 2 year blip.
Yeah.
This needs to be a sustained, not needs to be, but from his perspective, how is this a sustained thing?
I get I'm kind of done worrying about that. They've convinced me.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah. They're going to be a national championship contender this year. I've little doubt in my mind.
But how do you, are you going to be sustained in the way that Alabama was under Nick Saban? Or is this like a Dabo Sweeney? You've jumped up for a 3 or 4 year stretch and then time will eventually show that maybe you aren't what we thought.
Great question. I don't know.
That's sort of what the Curt Cignetti potential avenues.
So there was a story on ESPN.
We know he's not Gene Chizik. I feel confident in that.
No, it could potentially be his one appearance at a national championship.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that doesn't reflect on how bad of a coach Gene Chizik was.
I feel very confident that their follow-up to the national title will be in another appearance in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I feel fairly
Maybe
good.
they don't go to the title game, but whatever.
They might win the conference.
They might win the whole thing.
At which point the Ryan Day hire, fire, retire becomes fascinating.
So, good one for the future. So there was a story on ESPN about it's from Heather Dinich, and she visited both Bloomington and South Bend this spring.
The spring games,
Notre Dame practices, and in Indiana practices, and there's some nuggets in here about how much of a freak weirdo Cignetti is, and I'm excited to share some of those details. So here's the start of the Cignetti section. When Cignetti moved into his office in 2024, the priority was finding the right spot for his film projector. He wanted the screen to drop down smack in front of his face, right over his desk, but some staff members politely pointed out that it would block his stunning view of Memorial Stadium field and the daylight that came with it. So the projector was installed in the ceiling to the left of his desk, and the screen takes up most of the wall next to his door. On this particular April day, the image frozen on the screen was the scoreboard at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Oregon 15, Indiana 42. The Hoosiers had the ball on the 3-yard line at 3rd and 3. Quote, he's always watching film, redshirt senior left tackle Carter Smith said. He's always dissecting the next game plan. He is fanatical about it. Goes on to talk about, his connection with Nick Saban and everything like that. Quote, we got a way of doing things, Signetti said. How you do something is how you do everything. Consistency, performance is the key to the drill. So right now we're teaching guys not only scheme, but standards, expectations, and how we want the game between the white lines. I see us making progress. Notice how he only talks about football ever. He doesn't talk about other crap. Quote, this is from Caden Becker, his surprisingly good receiver. Quote, for Sig, everything has to be the exact same. I don't think he's got a different Chipotle order since he's been here. It's unbelievable. Like, it's the same thing every single day. He gets here before everyone and leaves after everyone. He watches so much film. He has his schedule, and that's the way it's going to go no matter what happens. Quote, no matter what, running back Kobe Martin chipped in. It was almost weird after the national championship, linebacker Isaiah Jones said, like, what's next? We don't know what to do now. There's no one else. We've got a team that's so eager to get onto the next opponent and not linger on past victories. What an amazing picture and into the mindset of Curt Cignetti that he has somehow imparted on his team completely and airtight after 2 seasons where they're like, we just won the national championship. What do we even do with ourselves now? Why is there no one not standing in front of us waiting to beat us?
Without like browbeating anyone with sloganeering or anything else. And it just tells you that this is a guy that was able to instill what he wanted, in large part because he brought it with him from James Madison. He brought the people, he brought the players, he brought the culture.
Cignetti said,
he shoved it into Indiana.
So the point here that for me anyway is he is like all football. I mean, it is only football. And so there's this conversation going on about what coaches need to be in college football these days and how much they need to be fundraisers and faces of the program and people who go on sports talk shows and whatever and all those different things. And Cignetti is like openly against all of it. He understands it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care. He is all football. But in this case, he said, quote, I'm 95% football. We said no to... So Cignetti told both of his bosses after the national championship, Scott Dolson, the AD, and IU president Pamela Whitten, to turn down all external requests and speaking engagements so he could continue to focus on football. This is after they won the national championship. He would have been on Jimmy Fallon 48 hours later. He didn't. He goes, I'm 95% football. We said no to everything except for the Indy 500. He drove he's going to drive the pace car at the Indy 500 on the 10.
I mean, that's better than any time spent with Jimmy Fallon, so I can get that.
He's doing a test drive on April 30th, and then he will drive the pace car for the 110th Indy 500 coming up in a couple of weeks. Quote, I've got to be able to do my job. These things pull you out of the office, and they take up your time. I mean, I have a job to do. Believe it or not, I'm busy. And then back to the projector. That's all he does.
He strikes me in a lot of ways of, you would hear Steve Jobs talk, and it would be about how he just had one style of shirt that he would wear.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to think about it at all.
Yep.
And it was like, how can I most efficiently streamline my life where I don't have to put thought in things that I don't want to waste time on? And like when you talk about the Chipotle thing, that's what he eats for lunch because he doesn't have to think about it.
He doesn't have to
I guarantee he doesn't think about the shoes or what he's wearing because he doesn't want to spend time on it.
He has found a way, like, when he's talking about studying film all the time, and like, I think of Greg McDermott. Greg McDermott, basketball junkie, like absolute freak, watching film all the time, sees things that
Would he drive the pace car if offered?
Yes.
Would he fit in the pace car?
He likes doing other things as well. He would need a taller roof for the pace car.
A lot taller
probably.
Roof.
But he got frustrated by all this other crap.
Sure.
And it's part of the reason why he's not here anymore. Like he was annoyed by what it takes to build a college basketball roster as a college basketball coach. Cignetti has figured out a way to just put all those responsibilities on someone else and coach football. I don't think he actually cares what kind of players he has.
Where he doesn't have to
I don't think he actually cares what kind of players are to a certain point, right?
Sure.
You can't take nobody's, but like, I don't think he actually cares They get him the players, and he's like, cool, thanks for the players. I'll coach them now. That's my job. That's why I'm here, which is so it's so antithetical. It's so different from every coach who is a coach now or who talks about coaching now. And they talk about how dynamic you have to be and how many different things you have to be able to do and how many hats you have to wear. Cignetti's like, wrong, B word. I'm doing one thing. It's coach ball.
You can tell he uniquely comes from a very different world and style of coaching. And he certainly, because he trends older, you instantly like, oh, he's an old school football coach. I have a very weird personality quirk comparison for you. Like when you're reading this, a lot of who it sounds like to me, and Cignetti was a much better football coach, so this individual had success, just nowhere near that level. Sometimes when people talk about him and just sort of the way that he is, I think of Bo Pelini. I think of Bo Pelini a lot.
Yep.
Because Bo Pelini hated all the extra stuff.
He's not as...
He only wanted to be around the grease board and his football team.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do any of the extra.
Yeah, Bo is a little emotional.
Bo is way more emotional. Like
and probably because of that, more scatterbrained and just kind of a little more everywhere.
But from the general standpoint of, I want to be a 1970s to 1990s football coach and not do any of the 20.
Like I want to wear a whistle.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want to do the politicking. I don't want to do the media stuff. I don't want to play kiss ass with the local boosters. I don't want to do any of this. I just want to coach football and I want to design football things and I want to talk about football.
How do you do it though? Like,
I think you can do it when you're at Indiana where it didn't matter, where you can get away with not doing it.
Is it portable to anywhere else?
No, I get so annoyed when it's, anybody can get their Curt Cignetti. And it's like, I think he's super unique. This story is super unique. I think the fact that it happened at a place like Indiana allowed it to happen. There was no expectation of success.
In part.
There was no like, hey, we need you to go out and do this and do that and go out. They have a basketball program that takes all of the harpoons of anything that's happening over there.
No harpoons.
So you could just tinker and work and focus on football. And he did.
Yeah. Now, I also think
this at Ohio State, it doesn't work.
So I also think, though, that it undersells how good of a coach he is.
Well, I don't want to undersell that. It's not that it can work elsewhere in the sense that he's a great coach.
Yeah.
I think he would be pulled in more directions. Maybe I should phrase it that way. He would have been pulled in more directions had he had a more known program as his first stop.
So as his first stop.
Yeah.
Well, what if a guy like him, what if you just cloned him, like there was a second Cignetti and
double Sig. Sigs too.
Would a program like Ohio State hire him, even though he's not going to be your dynamic leader? He doesn't give a rip about what the bosses think. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's like, yeah, whatever, you hire me to coach football, so that's what I'm going to do. Like, shove it. That's what he's going to do.
And I think it's easier to work that when you're started off as a second tier, third tier program. And
absolutely.
Indiana.
You're right.
I think it's so much harder to do that at an Ohio State.
I agree. But this is not a real. I mean, we're cloning Curt Cignetti. It's not a real.
You're worried about realism.
It's not a real thing.
I know what you're about.
Like somebody would take that.
Yeah.
Somebody would do that, and maybe somebody out there sees, oh, it's doable to have a coach who just gets the football right first. Because the biggest lesson is if you get the football right, a lot of things start to fall into place pretty quickly.
Sure.
If you get the football right, everything starts to fall into place. Doesn't mean you go undefeated and win a national championship. I think that's some of the Indiana of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
the Cignetti of it,
and certainly the Cignetti of it. But if you get the football right, a lot of stuff starts to fall into place, and then all of a sudden you don't have to care or worry about that other stuff.
It's just the barrier of entry at those other places are you're expected to carry and worry about it.
Right.
You're expected to do all of these things, even if you don't want to. And it's easier to not do it when no one cares about you in the first place.
There's no doubt.
So
it definitely was made easier by that.
That's why I think this story, it's oversimplified when it's like, oh, you just have to hire the exact right guy. And it's like, you have to consider the context of what you are. Coming to Nebraska to be the head football coach means you have to take on all that other
Yeah,
stuff.
nobody would have accepted that here.
Right.
At first. Now
everybody would accept the results.
Right.
They wouldn't have allowed for him to do that.
Okay, so quickly back to the hire, fire, retire thing. Let's just say somebody, Nebraska's courting him or something like that. I don't think Nebraska would be able to get him. Whatever. Nebraska, fake
Jordan
world
is offering $22 million.
Fake world again. Do you
They've
allow
delayed the
him?
stadium project, and they are going to use the $600 million on Kurt Signetti.
Do you allow him to come in and just have the keys and do it however he wants to do it? Because you have to, right?
I think it's the idea.
Yeah.
He's not going to leave to go to somewhere where he has to do other stuff.
Right.
The question is, how soon, if it doesn't work immediately, are people then upset that they're not being treated in the way that they want to be
At
treated?
that point, maybe that would finally be the time where people would look inward and say, maybe I'm the problem.
Well,
Maybe. Jim writes in on YouTube, did you skip the part of the interview where Signetti turns his hat around to become Kurt? Coach Kurt.
Did you?
Nope, I didn't see that in there. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and get to our bracket sim of the day as we round things out next on 1620 The Zone. Don't forget to get in your name for the Derby draw. Your chance to win $200 without doing jack, except for entering our contests at 1620thezone.com. Then you, if you're lucky, you get assigned to one of the horses in the Derby. And then if that horse wins, you're attached to him, you win $200. So join right now at 1620thezone.com. Bracket sim of the day. We have updated the bracketology from last night. We have new regions. This was not a self-created bracket. We'll try and work on that tomorrow. We were engaged in several conversations during the break today, coming up with a variety of different new bits.
Some good bits on the way.
Some PNBs for sure. Nebraska in the Lincoln Regional is the number 8 national seed. I don't know how this keeps happening.
It's got to be because they're so high in their internal rankings more than it is anything else. Because it's like Kansas isn't even a regional host, and they should be here.
No, Kansas is.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's down in the corner. They have Creighton.
They have Creighton. Yeah. So Nebraska is hosting the Lincoln Regional with 2-seed Virginia, 3-seed UAB, and 4-seed Indiana State. That's kind of a fun regional.
That is a fun regional.
And Creighton has made the NCAA tournament as well, where they will be the 4-seed in Lawrence, taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. And for the second year in a row, it'd be Kansas and Creighton in the opening game of the NCAA tournament.
Who else is in there?
Southern Miss and Kent State.
Whoa.
Let's simulate this bracket. Nebraska is advanced to the Super Regional, where they take on, Oklahoma State.
Oh, wow.
At home.
They can't hurt you at home, right?
But they can. Oklahoma State, the 3 regional seed in Stark Vegas, beats Mississippi State and Miami, advances to the Super Regional in Lincoln, and wins it, and goes back to the Connor World Series.
They are legitimately like one of those teams like LSU, and we talked about a few of them that are very, very close to being out. Like they're
on the bubble.
Yeah, they're very much on the bubble.
On the bubble. The 3 seeds mostly are. So thank you, Oklahoma State, by the way, for saving us and creating the Connor World Series. West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, USC somehow keeps making it. Wake Forest, Texas San Antonio, and Texas. And yet for the second day in a row, we have a Texas A&M natty.
Wow.
And
what's A&M seed?
They're the 5th overall seed in America.
Have you noticed that West Virginia keeps having having UCLA's number? I feel like that happens a lot.
West Virginia keeps beating UCLA in the Super Regional, yes.
If they end up matching up, I might have to put money on West Virginia.
The bracket sim told me to. Let's do a projected bracket now. This one has Nebraska as the 11 seed. Oh, this is a very fun regional. Creighton ended up in the... Oh, this is fun. Both of these are very fun. Creighton ended up in Morgantown with West Virginia.
Okay.
The 14 national seed with 2-seed Alabama, their fiercest rival, and Gonzaga, who they've already played this year.
Wow.
Lincoln is defending national runners-up, Coastal Carolina, and Vanderbilt as the 3.
The Vandy Whistler coming to Lincoln?
Yeah, he just gets to make a pit stop up by 80.
Wow.
And then St. Joseph's, the Hawks, are the 4th seed. So let's run this. And here we go. Nebraska loses to Coastal in their own regional. Ouch.
Could happen.
Hey, they got some dudes, though. That dude.
And what do you know? West Virginia keeps getting through.
But they didn't have to beat UCLA this time, which is nice. They got through the regional with Creighton and Alabama and Gonzaga. Then they beat Wake Forest in the Super and made it to the Connor World Series. Here we go.
This Connor World Series? Could it use a little Nebraska?
Use a little bit more flair. Boston College, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Auburn, Coastal, and West Virginia. That's like sort of fun.
Yeah. There's something missing. I don't know what it is.
Nothing about Oklahoma baseball is ever fun to me.
Yeah. I think
they went to the final 2 years ago, and everyone
Oklahoma
was just like,
in general. Like, I don't have a disdain for them because I don't view it as a rivalry because it wasn't. I mean, it is. It's a historical one. But I don't have any, like, I don't ever want success for Oklahoma.
No, they're kind of just gone and out of my life.
Pretty much, yeah.
West Virginia would be an Omaha favorite.
West Virginia, I want success for. I'm good with West.
And in this particular sim, they lose to Texas A&M in the finals. Texas A&M keeps making the finals. Trev Alberts keeps getting happy.
Is that an acceptable thing in the Connor World Series?
Absolutely.
Happy Trev?
I mean, happy.
Do you think he'd come on our show?
On our show, probably not. Would he do an interview with me at the College World Series?
Well, yeah, he would do that.
He didn't 2 years ago. It was in the immediate aftermath. Yeah, I went into his box and he was like, look, it's just not the right time. Okay. I was like, I get it. That's fine. It was because it was right after he left. It was a little hot. He had 5 stars on GTA.
So he went into the garage and then changed the color of his custom car?
That's exactly what happened.
Whoa. Did it work?
He was warm. I think
I don't think it worked.
Well, yeah,
based on being in Oklahoma City, it didn't work.
He came out and did a couple more crimes and still has like 3 stars. There's still
more crimes?
Yeah.
Nate Borkircher? That's because of him?
That's right. That's right. All right. That'll do it for us today on the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Time for a crossover coming up next.